right.
Let's get it started.
Hey, folks, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I don't know where we were going to start, but since we were talking before I pressed record and we were in a good groove, I guess we should start here.
Yes.
We don't know what the hell is going on with Bray Wyatt and Bray Wyatt's potential tenure with WWE or second stint with WWE. Apparently, he no-showed Madison Square Garden this past weekend or in the last week, and people don't know whether or not he's in or out or what, and it's kind of weird. And then me and Rich came to the conclusion, I don't know what's real or what's to talk about or speculate about, but Rich said, well, we could always just, evaluate what he has done on WWE television since he's returned to the E. And I lit up because I was like, that's even more fun than record speculation. So let's get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So before
you
we
said
go,
you want to call this an audit. So
yes, the Bray Wyatt audit.
There you
And fitting since his dad is IRS, we audit his child and bring him to the stage. So we did One Nation Radio on October 10th of last year, and that you had some, James?
Yes. Is IRS an anti-Semitic gimmick?
I mean,
Earn our shyster?
Yeah.
What?
You raise a solid point, and we know Vince McMahon likes to, take out his problems with the world via wrestling. We saw the fake Antifa group just a couple years ago,
right? Retribution.
Yeah. IRS anti-Semitic gimmick. I think they might have slid that one past us, James.
I don't know so much of it slid or so much I was a kid and had no idea what the fuck the term shyster meant and came from.
Boy. Okay. So Bray Wyatt. We did the show. He came back at Extreme Rules. It's after months and months of that White Rabbit stuff. They were playing the Jefferson Airplane song. Arenas were lighting up.
The different versions, so
Yeah.
I can't keep look. I don't these 70s white rock bands. I don't know. I'm sorry. Like I don't know how to know all the chronology when the bands turn over and change names and members drop and pick up. Like only thing I got for you is like Fleetwood Mac and Queen. I ain't got much else for you as far as following like those careers.
And then, they're too cheap to license the song for him, so they don't give him the song for his entrance music when he comes back. It's kind of like a viral campaign they run. And, man, when he came back, you would have thought that, we were getting just, the second... You would have thought Jesus Christ himself came down and decided to be a pro wrestler, and... the way people were acting in these comment sections, they were just attacking anyone that just didn't understand it or anything like that. It was quite sickening, really. And this was the height of the Triple H is just gonna fix everything. Vince didn't understand the Fiend, and think about all the stuff that happened with Bray Wyatt and the Fiend and all that. We've got tons of stinker matches, tons of career altering people interacting with him and having their careers altered forever. What's up, Seth Rollins? They had him out there getting squashed by Goldberg, and that sent them into hysterics. I think we found that very funny. They did the firing, and he was just hanging out for a year and never appeared anywhere else. Comes back, and James, I think we called it. Nothing would happen. It was more mystery box bullshit. He came out there and he sold some merch, popped some quarter hours, either by appearing or not appearing on the show. James, it is March now. That's just over 5, maybe 6 months ago. And I don't know what we really have except a couple goofy videos of him wearing a wig on his head, him introducing his brother to take all the bumps for him, the Uncle Howdy shit, and like just some of the QR codes, all the lore. The director of lore, I believe his name is Rob Fee, that was basically sending out all these snarky, condescending tweets to everybody, just thinking he basically was about to revolutionize wrestling. And I'm sorry, man, the director of lore is not going to be the one that saves this business. Bray Wyatt is not going to be the one that saves this business. And we've been telling you this since 2013. This is a charlatan. This is a scammer. This is a carny. But at the end of the day, he got to take that rapist money. So Bray Wyatt, actually good. What did he do? LA Knight, he had a match with Soda that was in the dark. Literally, like Dev dancing in the dark. That's what he was doing.
Dancing in the dark. Wow. Yeah, man. I would say this a lot because like there has been a lot of bullshit, but it ultimately like you pretty much summarized it pretty well. Like there ain't really been much, even though there has been a lot. It's weird. Like
just
been a lot of like
insane
TV
promos,
time,
batshit insane promos.
Yeah, like this man was able to trick people into, or more like directly. He was able to trick Vince and Triple H into having a feud with himself, which he then turned into a feud with his brother, which then turned into not a feud with either one. I don't know what like goes into all of this stuff. All I know is the end product of all this stuff when it ends up getting aired on TV ultimately is unsatisfying and leads to more questions than answers, and there's never any answers. And that's what I've always been saying about Bray Wyatt since 2013, is that when are we going to get to the point? When is he going to get to the fucking point? And when he came back, I was like, you know what's going to happen? He's going to give you a nice starting spot for people, and they're going to get intrigued because the dude is charismatic and a great talker, absolutely. But ultimately, he's not going to be able to deliver the goods of a satisfying conclusion to whatever it is he's doing, because he never had before. So why would he do it now?
I'd like to give a shout out to all the top stars who avoided working with him, to Seth Rollins, who actually went on the record and basically like gave the game away about what the top of the card thinks about this man. It's hard to work with him. It's hard to work with the character, and everyone else that I think if you're stuck wrestling Bray Wyatt, like that means you're not a star, but if you are a star, you actually can say, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And think of some of the, like,
it's been how long? He's had one televised match, right?
Yes.
And then like
so far,
you were going to tell me he was going to head into a feud. They were going to pitch him to Brock. They were going to pitch him to they shot an angle for Lashley.
Yes.
All this tells me is you actually had no plan when you brought him back.
Long term, probably not. As far as like we bring you in and we know what you're going to do at WrestleMania. No, I don't think they actually had a plan. And I also think that's the reason why Brock was like, "Oh, no, you tried to get me to work with this dude in 2016." I said, "No, I'm not wrestling this guy. No, not doing it." So they came up with that goofy, way to get out of that, to where like Lashley loses, gets his ass beat, and then gets rewarded with a WrestleMania match or whatever. And it's like, do you want to see Bob? Obviously, no answers. Fuck no, right? But like,
right?
Can you think of like a worse pairing for a WrestleMania match than Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt?
Somebody that's as hard of a worker as Bobby Lashley, and like,
I mean, let me rephrase it. Amongst people that actually like bring value to the company, or actually like people that are actually like hard workers and good. Like, if you want to say almost, yes, almost will suck worse. Yes, but I mean like people that are actually like players on the roster.
I think the Lashley thing is such a like a mismatch, right? Because his character's not really that interesting to play off of. Like, he's the big muscle man, he's kind of angry, and they had Wyatt doing like a comedy kind of spin to it, but like, and Lashley being the straight man is, I guess, how you would react to that, right? But
yeah,
just talking about in the ring, like, they can't do anything together. I know Wyatt's not going to want to like get suplexed a bunch of times. I know Lashley isn't really. There's nothing really for Wyatt to do to Lashley aside from put him in a chin. Aside from putting him in a chin lock or something like that. So like, I just find them very incompatible. And then like you think about like his career, like all right, let's say they were gonna do the House of Horrors match or whatever the fuck they call it, the thing he did with Cena.
I forgot what it's called. House of Horrors was the one with Orton in that abandoned house.
When the Firefly Funhouse match. Say
they
were gonna do that. Like, what can they really put on there for Lashley? Like, they're gonna put him like going to TNA. They can't use Trump. So like what are they gonna do?
They could, they just won't.
Yeah, they know better now.
They're trying to hide that connection, even though like I can go on internet and type in like McMahon family in Oval Office and see what pops up.
Yeah, like
it's amazing when it's like you can see what could pop up for certain people, but certain people it's like, oh, we don't want to put them in the Hall of Fame. It's this particular time because what might pop up if you put in an image search.
I'm glad you mentioned the Hall of Fame. Something I don't have written. Rey Mysterio. We'll get to Rey in a second, but as far as this Bray Wyatt thing, it is an abject failure. It was always going to be an abject failure.
Yep.
And I don't care what happens from this point forward. It's going to be an abject failure.
Yeah. Like, what's the turnaround on this? Like,
what do we have to keep waiting, James? Like,
right. Like, if you're saying like, if somebody, that was, because I'm pretty sure this will get clipped, so we put on the YouTube, and then like there'll be people in the comments that will say something along the lines of, whenever we've, completely just rule someone out, whether it was Liv Morgan or Alexa Bliss, and just be like, we don't get it, blah, 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 blah. And it's like
haters, blah, blah.
Yeah. And like,
YouTuber idiots.
Look, man, it is fun to talk about how bad some of the stuff he's done has been.
I get great joy out of like telling people how horrible this is.
Yeah, I do. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I don't get enjoyment out of that, right? But it's ultimately just like, look at the track record. What does the track record tell you? Like, it's been shit. This has been shit. It probably will end up being shit. Like, what do you...
It's almost like some Bret Hart best there is ever will be shit. That's what it almost sounds like. But, you got to ask questions, Suddenly, Bray Wyatt not wanting to come around, with Vince McMahon being there, ask questions. Ask questions. But Rey Mysterio, they announced him for the WWE Hall of Fame. A lot of people were feeling pretty nostalgic about Rey Mysterio the other day. Rey Mysterio's been in the Observer Hall of Fame since 2010, so this has already been a Hall of Fame wrestler for a really long time. They're putting him in as, I guess you'd call him an active wrestler still. He's going to have a match at WrestleMania, presumably against Dominic. And I don't know, I have gone back and forth about how I've felt about Rey Mysterio for a lot of years, because I've never enjoyed how WWE has used him. And I thought always he was way more over than the level of his push. I thought there were times where they set him up in a lot of like bad situations. I thought they booked him into oblivion. They had really no idea how to use him any better than they had an idea of how to use the Big Show, really. And you think about him and how influential he is. Like, you can't run like a modern wrestler out there and you ask them like who their biggest influence are. A lot of them are gonna say Rey Mysterio. Right. This was inevitable. I mean, everyone gets in the WWE Hall of Fame, but it's cool Rey will get to go up there and talk and all that. But
maybe,
maybe if they don't turn this to an angle or anything. But I see this guy and I look at him like he could have been even bigger. So it's like it doesn't hit the same for me. Like I just hated the constant he's an underdog thing. Like, it's just like, just let him be spectacular, man. Like, and then you know, he probably was wrestling a lot of opponents over the years where it was just not the ideal opponent for him. You just wish he got to wrestle a lot better wrestlers over the time periods that, you know, he was working. And I think Rey Mysterio in a different place maybe throughout all this time might have been more exciting. But Rey's much more your guy than he ever was mine. So what are your thoughts on Rey Mysterio?
I mean, you're ultimately right, but I think it takes people like Ray and Daniel Bryan's and of that ilk to break through to a certain level for eventually for that to like change people's expectations or change the paradigm. And like for people that are under 5'9", like to become actual top of the card stars in WWE and in, you know, major AmRest is a big fucking deal even still today. And like the idea that this dude that's like what, how tall is Ray? 5'3", 5'2"?
Yeah, 5'4".
Yeah. Like for somebody that's like that height to have had this kind of staying power, and be able to, you know, I don't want to, you know, do the Jericho Undertaker thing and reinvent himself and blah blah blah. But like the part where this person was able to stay around and like be respected by so many people, be one of those respected wrestlers of the generation, like I think that kind of is a testament to like the kind of way he handled himself in this business, which is like, you know, like he came in the era when like there were real sharks in the water, right? Real sharks in the water. He was in that locker room with you know, the NWO, brother. Like that's that, you know what I'm saying?
Or the one right next to it, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yes. He was backstage with him. Is that fair enough to say?
Yeah.
So, so to start from that point to, or even the starting point really is like CMLO thought he was too small, so he ends up in AAA in the freaking, you know, like Rebel promotion, the Outlaw Mud Show, and makes it from there, right? Because he's friends with the guy who was the top star in the company, Conan. So like, yeah, like this was a really improbable journey for this dude to become, you know, a person that can command the kind of dollars he's had in you know the last few years. And I just think that like you're right about like it shouldn't have been this hard. We should have known that was the way the game was coming. Like, you know, but like the idea that he came into the game when like people were saying like Brett and Shawn were too small when he started, right? Like
Right.
like we're talking about people that have, you know,
6 inches of height on
6
him,
inches
maybe.
and however many, you know, how many kilos on them, right? Like that's the starting point, right? And then and he has, and they don't have masks on, right? In America, like so it was a long process. And like I think obviously he's a pioneer, he's an innovator, he's all that. But like it's beyond that kind of stuff. Like I can't even put into words like the kind of like level of influence he's had on this business. Like you look at AEW and you see all the lucha libre that's up and down that card, and also on that roster, like the influence, and like a lot of that is going back to watching, you know, the WCW cruiserweights and what that did to the people that became the wrestlers here. And I don't think it can be overstated like how big of a deal this dude was to the future generations behind him. Like he definitely, you know, moved the game forward.
Yeah. I wish he would have been kind of allowed to break through and not been booked into oblivion, like when he had the chance to really like get to the main event in WWE. And you know, he was, you know, I don't want to go through it too much, but it was just I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, man, what are like I was thinking about every year at WrestleMania what he was doing right throughout his career. And I was like, well, 2003, I think he was in a match with Matt Hardy. 2004, the Cruiserweight Open, they kind of built that whole thing around him. 2005 opener with Eddie Guerrero, and his mask is falling off the whole time. 2006, a 9-minute 3-way match where he wins the second world title, and then gets booked into oblivion in the months following. 2007, I don't know what happened there, maybe an injury. 2008, same. Nothing jumps out at me. 2009, still nothing.
2009, I think he's wrestling. Can't remember. Was it Cody?
No, that's 2010.
Okay.
No, actually,
wait, what was the CM Punk thing?
CM Punk's 2010. Cody's 2011.
Okay.
And then like, you know, after that, it's like I can't think of a single like year where it was like they thought
that's
to, like,
right, JBL.
Okay, JBL.
The squash.
Okay, yep. Okay. That 15-second match. Okay. But like I'm like, yo, why weren't they like using him in like top 3 positions? Like for like they were looking for people that were, you know, as much as they were struggling in the early 10s, right? And I know Ray was injured a lot and everything like that, but that never stopped them from pushing Randy Orton. That never stopped them from pushing John Cena. That never stopped them from pushing Triple H. And the list goes on as far as like, quote unquote, injury-prone people. But, you know, I'm glad Rey Mysterio has a lot of fans, and a lot of fans are probably not as like kind of pessimistic as I am about some of this stuff, but the Rey Mysterio I knew and loved was in WCW. So, and it's never been like, for me, it's never got to that same level. But you know, glad like he's still around. I wish he would have left WWE a couple years ago, so he could. Well,
yeah, same.
You know, could have got the most out of like the ability he still has left. But I think, ironically, his lasting legacy in WWE, in a way, will be them always trying to find the next him when it's never coming along, like ever. Like it's not happening. Like
I mean, it was funny. Like Eddie dies. They used Ray as the payoff of like this catharsis of him winning the title in tribute to Eddie, which and that was perfectly fine. That's pro wrestling, and they quickly got off of it because they saw him as an underdog babyface. Like, but I will say this: given the way today's standards, at least he got the short title reign. Now we just beat motherfuckers in Montreal and call it a fucking day. Right, put him in a tag team match in WrestleMania next year, or coming up WrestleMania. But yeah, you're absolutely right that they never were open minded enough to, this guy is doing quarter ratings. The crowds are hot for this thing. Let's go with it and see where it can take us. It did the same thing with Daniel Bryan. Right, and that was the history lesson when you were watching the Daniel Bryan Kane stuff happening right after WrestleMania 30. Was like,
yep,
bro, they completely destroyed Ray after this. Now he's got her getting, you know, what was he getting? Put in a neck brace by Kane and
Great Khali, Kane,
right? And it was like, okay, you're not really. This is the thing. Like, if you watch enough of this, you know when they're actually going with someone. You could tell the clear differences. And like that was disheartening at the time. And because it's like all y'all try to do is talk about, you know, grab the brass ring, and when you're hot, and whatever else, you got to try to maximize it. And then you see them time after time again not do that. Becky Lynch, another perfect example, right? I can go down the list of all the times they've had people get super hot and then they just cut off. Summer of Punk being, yeah. I mean, hell, making it a 3-way to begin with.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's
also that match is never happening, by the way.
Oh, Becky and Ronda?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, who wants it now at this point? Like, if you're like, seriously, if you're Becky Lynch, right? And obviously we hear words about like, you know, tag matches or whatever else, but like if you're Becky Lynch 2 months ago, you'd be like, all right, you know, Becky, you know, you're still the top star in the company. got to get you something for WrestleMania. What do you want to do? You want to finally have a Ronda match? She'd be like, no.
Like, I don't need to. As Chicago Phil once said, I don't need to wrestle her. She needs to wrestle me.
Yeah. I was gonna be like, I was gonna be more like the Ti. Now, why you want to go and do that? Like, nah, man, no, thank you. So yeah, it's just when it comes to that thing with Ray, is like there was always that thing of like, if you have an open mind and you honestly give things a good faith try, you can play it out and see where you go. Right? You play the game as long as you can until you can't play it no more. Vince has never operated that way. And don't get me wrong, like there are a lot of bookers that have been historically like, all right, I got my plans, or I'm cutting this off at a certain date and I'm moving on. And whatever your philosophy is, your philosophy. But I'd always feel like you're cheating. You're making it harder for yourself by trying to come up with all this stuff. Like you're not, like, you are a showrunner. Like this is your show, and you are putting these pieces together. But like you can make it easier on yourself not to stress out in certain ways by trying to have to force things in a way that seem unnecessary at the time.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So with Ray, they've always left money on the table with Ray. They always have, and they've always left money on the table with Mexican wrestlers because they're still trying to chase another Ray and Eddie.
Instead of letting these people be themselves.
Yeah.
Racism, very powerful thing.
Yeah.
So,
no. Before we move on from there, right?
Yeah.
Remember for years, whether it was Sin Cara, whether it was someone like Del Rio, whether it was Andrade, whether it's El Phantasmo now, right? Or Legado in general, right? It was always this talk of, well, you got to speak the language to be able to get over, blah, 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 right? What's taking us so long with Legado? Phantasmo speaks perfect English.
I was told this man was a can't miss star by a friend of ours.
Before we got there, right? Before we even got Legado up, right? Where's Angel Garza? Who speaks perfect English and is a handsome guy in great conditioning. I know he had a bad injury. I'm not saying, but like they weren't pushing that dude to actually get, like they didn't push him half as hard as they pushed Austin Theory. Am I wrong here?
Austin Theory.
Right.
Man. Yeah, there's a lot there to unpack.
Yeah. Like Del Rio's like the only one they've actually like really tried with in the last decade.
And what is the thing? And Del Rio's one of those guys where he's way bigger in real life than you even think he is on TV. Like He's a legit like 6'5".
Yeah, something like that, like 6'4", 6'5", yeah.
At the end of the day, like most things in this company, it's just about how big you are.
Yep.
So I got news shortly before we went on air that the website datpiff.com is shutting down. I saw a post about it. And for those of you that don't know what datpiff.com is, datpiff.com is a website that existed kind of from like the mid-2000s to up till current day, where a lot of people release mixtapes. A lot of mixtape stuff were shared, and you could download it for free. A lot of artists kind of got their, found a lot of fans through there. That was the first website I ever released a mixtape on, and it was like, wow. Because I went on live mixtapes the other day, just kind of looking for some old stuff, and I was, wanted to listen to it or whatever. And live mixtapes is kind of like the B-side to Dat Piff. And so someone said it shut down today after almost 18 years of service. Dat Piff's website no longer responds and was already a few months prior acting really slow and unresponsive. Someone in this wrote either it was the people at Dat Piff who requested it to be shut down, or the web server was suspended by their web provider because either they didn't pay to keep the website up, or their subscription or whatever web provider they have ended and didn't renew. Unless it gets revived, and Dat Piff most likely won't come back. The development support for the website ended back in 2020 after they launched their app. And it was just like a really great place to listen to music, to find and create mixtapes. And it's I think it's a archive of like the mixtape era to the blog era to the streaming era. And there's so much music on there that will never see the light of day on streaming services, and really is just like an archive like of music that is done. Like this is like the next kind of progression in technology within music, to where there's no more CDs on mixtapes. Like that went out, before this came in, because it's like, well, everybody has it on the website. They can just download it. And now it's got even crazier. It's like the DSPs, and then just like direct downloads, and people able to they don't need sites necessarily like DatPiff anymore. And it's kind of sad in a way. So yeah, like I said, that was the first place I ever put up some mixtapes to try to like start building an online following.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to to like time and place and technology and how the advancements are, as far as like, and with the advancements, like the further granularization of like people's like tastes and interests in music in particular. So, like when you have streaming like Netflix and whatever else, or let's use something like, Spotify, because make it more apt, right? You can go anywhere and find what you listen to and find what you want or whatever else. An algorithm and give you, some tracks that sound similar. You might find some artists along the way to like, fit your mood, especially like the playlist thing. That's why that playlist, stuff is a big deal these days. But before we ever had that, like if, you were kind of just directed towards word of mouth for certain mixtapes, like a Jeezy mixtape or a Wayne mixtape or the Game mixtape or whatever, DJ Drama, Gangsta Grill at that particular time, and or whatever, Who Kid Radio at the time, or maybe a little bit before that. But like, if you weren't by the standards of the early to mid 2000s internet savvy, like you had no clue up or down or where any of this stuff was. And it could take you to certain places where you're just looking around and you're looking for a drop of blood inside of from a needle in a haystack. Like it's just, it's really in places like Live Mixtape. And I was more of a Live Mixtape person than DatPiff, but like in the era when like you don't have an MP3 player in your car, if you have anything, you have an iPod, right? Or some type of MP3 player. Like you don't have it actually on your phone. Like that place, like you mentioned, it was an archive. It had everything you're looking for that weren't albums, and you didn't have to worry. And like it's a place that, like as you mentioned, you can't put that stuff on stream because these are a lot of the mixtape stuff at the time was rapping over the people's beats, and like you got to worry about like or publishing and all that kind of stuff, and sampling fees and all that kind of stuff. And so like it's totally different now. And when I watch or when I listen to how new artists or whatever else, and they have like 2 or 3 singles, or don't actually have a full established project that they're ready to go with now. Like they don't drop mixtapes now; they drop EPs that they put on streaming for themselves.
Right, and
right?
most is just original stuff now.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like it used to be like that was a promotional vehicle, and that's why promotional use only on the
we saw on the artwork. The music
CDs.
Is free.
Right. And that was the thing that made it like interesting. It's like you can actually see a project, you can see like how people were going. Like so, it was really cool to see like what sprung up and what got people on at that time, and that's kind of out the window now. And like that idea that like if you're looking for new music, you have to go to a certain number of sites. Like you go to like the hip hop news sites that will have new singles, whatever that was given to them, and you go to the mixtape, see who has new mixtapes that particular day of the week. And now it's basically just like you go on your app and you go to new music on Friday and you see what's there now. It's like there's just less stuff that you actually like. You're I think it's a lot of the like when you have more selection of stuff, it makes the decision to go play something even harder, and then it makes it like it turns into more of a task and just simply pressing play. I find I don't know if you found this like you go on you go to like stream something to watch TV real quick. You want to watch an episode of any old thing that just to kill some time, and like you find yourself spending more time flipping through to try to find something quality as opposed to just like, oh, it's on here, just press it and then see what happens now. That's definitely what happens to me now with like all these streaming choices.
So we actually did get a message in the comment section for Brewhaven that DatPiff just sent out, which actually sounds like good news. It said, despite the rumors, we're happy to report we still will be supplying you with all the mixtapes you love. We're working on the technical issues on our app and the site, but we're still actively updating our YouTube. Thanks for all the love and concerns, but we promise we're still here. DatPiff on Twitter just now. So maybe it was like premature on this, but like I think a lot of the discussion still stands. Just like as far as like even like DatPiff not being, if it was out of here and if it is here or not here, it does not mean what it meant 10, 15 years ago, which was where you might take a chance on something you've never listened to before, just because it's like maybe you have more time to do so then, and so let's keep it going. GCW. So there was a report that came out from David Bixenspan that said GCW was actively opposing or getting in a legal battle with AEW. It's not a lawsuit, but it is over the trademarks to Fight Forever with a video game. Apparently GCW ran an event in 2021 or 2020. It was called GCW Fight Forever, and it was like their 24-hour streams, and each of those had little sub names like of shows. It was like GCW Fight Forever, then whatever the show is. Of course, AEW Fight Forever has been in the works for years and years now, and it seems like there's every time it seems like they're a little bit closer to the release, there's something that pops up, like the game rating deal. They get through that, and now this thing's popping up. Apparently it's not a money thing. GCW is saying that they want to just know if they're able to use the show name still, but this thing, I saw this and I thought, as far as like copywriting, how ironic that Game Changer Wrestling, of all organizations, wants to hold something up and clear something up about copyright and IPs and infringement when they've been nothing but culture vultures and violators for years and years and years. When they're doing GCW presents Chopper City in the Ghetto.
Yep.
When I'm watching the Alley Cat on a graphic with real hot girl shit written on there.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here, man?
I don't know, man. But I mean, it's like it's definitely all there. Like we've been talking about it. You've been talking about it particularly for years now. Like I'm looking through the 2017 stuff right now, right? So worst behavior.
Okay. Drake.
Hit him up 2018.
Tupac.
Yep. Live Fast, Die Young.
Rick Ross, a man involved in wrestling now.
The G Code.
Juvenile.
The Dynasty.
Jay-Z.
400 Degrees.
Juvenile again.
To Live and Die in LA.
Tupac Shakur.
Yeah, man. The Block is hot.
Various rappers from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Beg for Mercy.
50 Cent. G-Unit.
Like you mentioned, Chopper City in the Ghetto, right? You already did that. I Can't Feel My Face right? Like the Wayne and
Wayne
Joel
and Joel.
Santana
Look,
mixtape that
even
never came out.
mixtapes weren't saved, James. They had a show called 56 Nights.
Yep. Ready to Die 2020. Yeah, man. They have been doing this for a long, long, long time. Bring them out, Ti. Like The Last Resort. Like it's they have been doing it for years, and like
Some
I
people may
remember.
ask me, Rich, why do you care about this stuff? Why? Because I am a rap artist. I am someone that is plugged into the rap culture, and I don't care whether a different organization was using like indie rock band names for their shows or anything. That's not my battle to fight on their behalf. But when we're talking about GCW doing this with this very specific aesthetic they're trying to market for, with who they use on their shows, the audience that they're doing, shows for, and then just having no kind of clue and not contributing anything to the culture. I'm sorry. A midnight show on WrestleMania weekend that you have to wait until midnight to go to attend is not enough. Sorry. Then you start thinking about, all right, if you're just like you're marketing all this stuff, and it's like people worked hard on those ideas and those concepts, and if it was me and I knew about this and I was like, a little further in the game than I am, and they were like, yeah, what they got, GCW one lifetime, I sue the brakes off their ass. Like straight up. Well, GCW Dream Machine, not on my watch, partner. Won't be none of that. Like yo, because you're not like actively contributing to anything. Like you could reach out to some of these artists or whatever, and maybe they would like co-sign you, which would go a long way in doing this. Like you didn't put no money on BG's books to name your shit Chopper City in the Ghetto. Like what are you doing? Like
No. And I mean, in fact, like one of the funniest things I heard was that like BG just got out, and one of the first people to reach out to him was Birdman. It was like, why is Birdman finally going to give him all the money he owed him? No, okay, then what the fuck?
Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, and I sent a tweet out that got a lot of traction. Pretty much like 90% positive, and then 10% of people coming back and having different discussions and forums about it. And we famously on Twitter, like maybe like a year and a half ago, was myself, Adam Yuri, a couple other folks. I just decided to start taking GCW to task and putting out fake GCW show names and seeing who would know the difference between the fake ones and the real ones. And it was like a good 6 hours of that day. And I got messages from people at different outlets like the Ringer that work at the Ringer now saying, hey, we appreciate you saying something about this and stuff like that. And just like, yeah, man, I just don't think it is, I don't find the innocence in it personally, because this is something like these things, this is, to me, this is no different than Pat Boone re-singing Tutti Frutti. Like it's the same shit to me. Like I don't know, and the thing is, like, no, people aren't going to talk about this because people don't know why to be mad at something like this, or like the point.
And I'll say they don't care.
They don't care, and it's like, all right, if we don't talk about this shit, who will? Who's going to set this shit straight? And I'll talk to whoever wants to talk about it. Come and tell them to come see me, and I'll tell them why this is incorrect, should not fly. And if they want to keep doing this, there's ways they can do it, right? But they're just trafficking an aesthetic, and I think it's lame.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And like for me, it was one thing when it was just like, all right, we'll just name them after rap albums, and then it just kept going, and it's like, and their profile raises, and like, what's on those cards, what's in those crowds, is like, what are these names for exactly? This is odd. And it's like, okay, like you see enough about cultural appropriation that it's like, all right, there is no. like even to me to a certain extent with cultural appropriation or whatever else, I have my good faith questions of like what is on the perpetrator, right? Like if you are a white person that grew up listening to Michael Jackson and Prince, and you make a song that sounds like Prince, and people get mad at you, I'm like, well, I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do with this white person that actually grew up listening to this person, right? Like
Right.
Michael Jackson and Prince are at a level to where like they are beyond like belonging to, you know what I'm saying? So like I don't know what to do with that. But something like this is like, oh no, this is clear, this is cut and dry. Like this is a lot more fucking simple than worried about like what you think of like, I don't know, Bruno Mars or Justin Timberlake or some shit like that. This is a lot more easier to spot out. Because like ultimately, like the thing that when I think of cultural appropriation is like the problem isn't necessarily, to me personally, isn't necessarily like in good faith anyway. What this person took influence from, and then the outsized level of success they're getting compared to other people that do something similar because they look different. Like, so I don't really hold it against people that do, like I mentioned, like that sort of thing. But when it's like, okay, all right, there's nothing there. You're just stealing names.
Right.
It's one thing when it's like influence. This is like just flat out just taking names just cause. And like it's become more and more blatant after you talked about it and had to just keep going with it. And then like you talk to someone like that has fucking shows named after them or named as a part of like, their big yearly show, like Joey Janela. And then Janela is something like, well, what are you supposed to do? And it's like, okay, I see that there actually is no like concern for this. This is a problem.
Right. I've seen people say, if they stop doing this will be the end of like, the indies and stuff. That's not true at all. I think you can name things whatever you want to name them.
They can name
if
that
it's
shit
not been done.
Look, they could do that shit like Glate does and be like GCW version 5, version 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They could do that. That shit ain't gonna cause them to not be able to sell pay-per-views.
And for them to be so interested in using Fight Forever now, that stinks. And that is like, when my conspiracy brain starts rolling, it's like, why are you wanting to hold up the AEW game? Mr. Brett Lauderdale, whose picture was Stephanie McMahon at times, what's the deal here? Why don't you just steal another rap song and name it? I can give you one. It can be GCW 24 Hours to Live. How about that? GCW Last Day. GCW One Day.
GCW Day One.
GCW Day One. Look at that.
Right.
You can just steal another one. Since you have no problem stealing, do that. Shout out to Young Dro, Day One.
Right.
Datpimp.com. The conversation's full circle.
Yeah.
So
all right,
stupid.
so where do we go to next? Or do you want
stupid.
some more on this?
Look, and hurry up and clear this so I can start making my goddamn money off the video games. GCW stopping bags out here. Jesus Christ.
All right, so what's next?
All right. Y'all know what time it is. WWE 2K23 is out, so like every year on One Nation Radio, it is time to review the ratings. I have them listed and in order, so this should actually help move things along a little bit.
So here's my question, right? Like, before we get into the ratings, let's take let's pull all the way out and take a macro look at this. Should anyone besides Roman Reigns be rated over 95? In kayfabe.
As far as the all-time roster or like the current people?
Current.
You can make an argument for Bianca Belair.
Okay, sure. Maybe even Gunther, right?
Yeah. After that,
like,
no, I don't think.
I guess what I'm saying is like after you name whoever you name, whether it be Cody, a certain number, like there should be like an actual like like a gap. Like there should be a 5-point gap at the top of the top stars in the WWE, and then a 5-point gap, and then that's where you start like your Seth Rollins who can't win on pay-per-view people.
Man, okay.
In kayfabe.
So I am going to. I don't know which. I guess I should start at the highest, and then maybe we can go down to about 88 because that's their favorite number, right?
88 is like the new 8 is like the 80 for them.
Like they've got a lot less than last year.
But I mean, like like how you play like a sports video game. Anybody, when you look at a roster, you're trying to see how many 80s do you see on this bitch, especially on a football game. And then it's just let's see a bunch of like 73, a bunch of 75s and 78s. I don't know about this one.
All right, let's start with the top. Roman Reigns is a 99 overall, and this includes he's higher than anybody else. I believe
ever.
I believe there's a gimmick John Cena, like where he is an invisible person, and his name is Super Cena, and he's 100 overall. That's an unlockable character, right? But as far as people you can select directly out of the box, Roman Reigns is 99. He's the greatest wrestler of all time. And he hasn't been pinned in 2 years, maybe more than that. And as far as him having the 99. It's about time that they've done this. I'm shocked no one else has had a 99.
Where was he last year? Do you remember?
He was a 95, I believe.
Why the fuck would he be a 95 last year?
Yeah, or 96, something like that.
That's like that 1 year when like the top player in 2K is like a 97 at the highest. It's like just put the shit at the highest is 99 and stop fucking around. Like what are we doing?
Brock Lesnar is a 97.
Okay. I mean, he did beat him clean at WrestleMania, and like, how short was that match? 7 minutes?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is a 96. That's right. 3 behind Roman Reigns.
Well, can never hold the title very long, so I guess that has to do with it, Steve Austin could never hold the belt 2 years in that era, back when the belt was trading every 115 days. Probably less than that.
Steve Austin never, ever had a problem selling out Madison Square Garden. So
that's true.
The Rock, 96. So Austin and Rock both 96 together. Oh,
but below Brock.
Correct, below Brock.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair, 95. Okay. I don't have a problem with that one.
I'm always weird with the
women's ratings are a little different.
Yeah, it's always weird. Like the highest one is always like lower than the highest man is, and it's like if they're separate divisions, put them on the same fucking thing, and in your video game they can never like have violence against each other anyway. Who gives a shit? Make them all the same rating. Who cares?
John Cena, 94. He's 5 overalls behind Roman Reigns. This is what we're doing.
I mean, he left, so it's time to shit on him, I guess.
Yeah, he left. Charlotte Flair, 94.
Oof.
Look, not in 2023.
It's time to talk about it, isn't it? It's time to talk about it. That video clip that was making its way around this weekend from the Shotzi and Charlotte SmackDown match this weekend. That was like the lowest point of like my Charlotte Flair fandom, I think. The kind of like excuses people were making for them wrestling, like they were in like the underwater level in Super Mario Brothers, like
the aquatics.
No, it doesn't fly. If she has to slow down to that obvious cooperative like level of speed for her to then do her arm assisted middle rope Hurricane Rana, then just take that club out of the bag and say we're not doing that shit because this looks fake as fuck. This was not a that particular clip that was making, that was not like a good time for the Charlotte is the greatest women's wrestler of all time camp. Particularly after like that weekend Stardom had last weekend, but whatever. Obviously, you know, no one cares because there's Japanese women on the other side of the world who gives a fuck, but whatever. But like, nah, man, like there are teenagers that fucking smoke her over there. They just are, and I ain't talking about Stardom.
Hulk Hogan 94 as well. So Cena and Hogan both 94s, along with Charlotte.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Sure, yeah. I mean, whatever.
All three of those people exactly the same.
Was it 14 title reigns, something for Charlotte? I think that's the number. Because
Yeah.
I can't remember, because, you know, they changed, much like her dad, they changed, like, the number now.
Yep.
Sometimes it's 16, sometimes it's 14, sometimes the NXT titles count, sometimes they don't. I don't know.
Ronda Rousey at 93.
I don't know, man. One thing I will mention is, like, you haven't mentioned Becky Lynch's name yet, and that kind of
I have not, sir.
Yeah, that's kind of strange.
Actually, I lied. That's actually something that was more interesting. Some reason the text is black here. Becky Lynch, 96 overall.
Okay. Look, she should be in front of Charlotte, so
she's
whatever.
In front of Charlotte, they got that right, but she's in front of Bianca, and Bianca's beat her like a drum every time she's faced her. So I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's the kayfabe thing. There's also the part where it's like Bianca's still not as big a star as her, even though they have, in good faith, been one of the people they've actually tried with.
I'll say
WWE.
This: Becky Lynch's WrestleMania match has a lot more focus than Bianca's or Charlotte's.
Yeah, that's true. I think that comes to the part where, like, they gave her a really good opponent, and they're always over, and they don't really feel like they need to do much because they're also the part with the language factor. I don't know, but if you ask me, out of all these matches, what I'm most excited to see out of the women's division, it is Bianca versus Asuka. It ain't close. Like the Rhea and Charlotte thing, like they had a great match last match they had at WrestleMania. Charlotte, when has she had that level? When has she been at that level? When was the last time she was at that level? Was it 2020 was the last time she was at that level?
Might have been.
Yeah.
Randy Orton also 93.
That's interesting. Because before he left with his injury, and obviously that was like a year ago, you can make an argument he'd be higher. And then it's really hard to do with like a person like him that's like, he's old money, so he should be higher, but he's not for some reason. It's really hard to figure that one out.
Edge 93.
I'd bump him down to like a 90 and say tags only. I put a code in where he cannot come out the garage. That car can't come out the garage unless it's accompanied with another car. A tag.
Plenty of grit. Both of those. Sir Sam.
Did you pop during Chris's promo on the Go Home show when he actually mentioned grit?
I think I didn't notice it in real time.
I did. Christian is completely 100% outworked this man. He outgritted that man.
Sir Sam says both of those guys won below Cena. So Trish Stratus also 93. That's right. Trish Stratus exactly the same as Randy Orton.
Are Naomi or Sasha in the game?
No.
Or are they gone?
They're gone.
Okay.
Triple H 93. I'm shocked at this.
Triple H, Randy Orton, and Edge are all the same level, and John Cena's one ahead. Look,
I am shocked. Triple H didn't make himself 95 along with The Undertaker.
Look, this is what I'm going to say. There has been lots of talk among some certain podcasters about who has the final say, who really has the final say. I'll say this. If Triple H really had the final say, he ain't gonna name 93 in his video game.
we know Triple H is very particular about his portrayal in video games.
Absolutely.
I believe there was a old story about for the promotional materials, Triple H was not allowed to be in a compromising position. Like he was not allowed to be getting beat up in the promotional photos or things like that. Like, so I keep that Triple H in mind as we go through.
We're talking about the guy. We're talking about the guy that in front of Joe Briscoe said he didn't look believable that Kurt Angle could beat him in a fight. The fucking Olympic gold medalist wrestler. And then Joe Briscoe said, and why do you go see about it? And then Triple H has shit to say.
Shout out to Joe Briscoe.
This man, this egomaniac is running the company now.
Like, that's, he's the good one, James. He's the good one.
Oh, my God. It's like when people talk about, like, that's the good billionaire. No, look, I love Beyonce as much as y'all do. There is no she's a good billionaire, including her. Sorry. It is what it is. Bump that Renaissance, though. Still do.
Bobby Lashley, 92. A lot of ratings respect shown for Bobby Lashley here. I think maybe a little bit higher. I didn't expect that, especially with some of the people that are behind him.
I think with a lot of the whole 2+ years of protection with him, I think that paid off for him.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan, 92.
I'm sorry, what?
That's right. Triple H in front of Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Look, man, as you mentioned about Steve Austin being behind Roman Reigns and being able to sell out the garden, Roman Reigns can't. Why the fuck is Hollywood Hogan at 92? What?
It gets even funnier.
What is this shit?
The next person on the list, Seth Rollins, 92.
Brother.
You trying to tell me that Seth Rollins meant as much to wrestling as Hollywood Hulk Hogan?
Let's put it this way, right? I think
what?
Look, I'm with you. Here's the thing. Me and you, we're both saying this while acknowledging that me and you both hate Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, whatever the fuck you want to call him, 1,000 times more than we've ever hated Seth Rollins.
Yes.
Seth, you have no business being here. That makes no fucking sense. And why the fuck is Hogan only 92? This is dumb. It's like, you just like, hey, bro, like, it'd be like looking at Ty Cobb's numbers and be like, I don't know what to do with this. I know what to do with this. Put on that plaque. That man was a bigot, and also put on that plaque. That bigot was awesome. I'm sorry. Like, am I wrong here? You can acknowledge he's a fuck up, but you ain't gotta lie at the same time.
Right. Rob Van Dam, 92. Good number for Rob Van Dam. Yes,
Rob
the same.
Van Dam,
also
Seth
the same.
Rollins,
and Hulk Hogan. The same.
Look, bro. First off, I do appreciate. I feel like that's a huge shout out to Rob. Is Rob going to Hall of Fame or did he go in already?
I believe he already went in.
Okay, so Rob at 92, I like that. I like that in a vacuum.
Yeah.
The problem is in context with the rest of these scores, it's kind of funky. But
wait till we get to these 91s. This group of 91s is just going to make you be like, "What is going on here?"
Oh God. Okay.
And the 90s are pretty bad, also. Let's see. Okay, let's get to these 91s. 91, Vader.
Okay.
91 for Cody Rhodes.
Huh.
Thoroughly dominated Seth Rollins and comes in behind him.
Sure did.
Look, underneath all those, underneath Lashley, underneath, let's see.
You haven't mentioned McIntyre or Gunther yet.
I have not.
Oh God.
So,
or Sheamus.
Coming up next, Drew McIntyre, 91.
91. Him and Cody are on the same. That's weird, man. Like, you would figure they just put them, like, him and you put, like, Lashley, Seth, and those two, like, kind of together. Kind of.
FTR Bald's favorite character, Bret Hart, 91.
Bret Hart's a 91.
That's right. Cody Rhodes and Bret Hart, exactly the same.
No, Seth Rollins over Bret Hart. I'm sorry.
Yes.
What? What are we doing?
Bailey, 91.
I don't know what to do with that because that woman's division is so like bombed out and depleted that like, I don't even like. She's like the last really high one you can rank. I would put Asuka there too, but like they're weird with Asuka. But
Bruno Sammartino, 91. That's right. Seth Rollins better than Bruno Sammartino.
I mean, look, to be fair, Seth is a better in-ring performer than Bruno. I'm not. So whatever.
Look, I'll tell you, he ain't a better talker than Bruno.
He's not a better draw. That's for damn sure. But yeah, man, like Vince always
Roman
had
Reigns
this weird
8
thing.
points over Bruno.
Yeah. Especially when it's like how many more years does Roman have to go to even catch Bruno's record for title days?
So many.
Yeah. Wasn't like how many thousands was it?
It was like 7 years.
Yeah, it was some shit like that, yeah. Or 8 years, I think. I think it's closer to 8 years.
Yeah. Okay, so Scott Hall in the NWO version, 90.
Are they gonna do the thing where Razor Ramon's higher or no?
It looks like Razor Ramon's not in it unless
not
it's
in this year?
Yeah, okay. I don't think he's in.
Okay.
Eddie Guerrero, 90. He's had that 90 rating for a while. Nikki Bella, 90. You can look, but you can't touch. Jey Uso, 90.
Jey Uso's a 90.
Jey Uso is a 90. By far the highest rank he's ever wrestler? Had.
Okay. Wonder where Sami Zayn ends up.
Y'all gonna laugh. Yes, Jey Uso ahead of Gunther. Correct.
And Sheamus.
Rhea Ripley, 90.
Okay.
Kevin Nash in the NWO, 90.
Okay, sure.
Kurt Angle, 90. What?
Now, I already know the Sean thing, and that's why I'm not getting too mad. But like, that's absurd, bro.
Kurt Angle, the
wrestling machine,
is 2 behind Rob Van Dam. Kurt Angle is 3 behind.
2 behind
Triple
Seth.
H.
He's 1 behind Cody.
Kurt Angle is 5 below the Undertaker. He's 9 behind Roman Reigns.
What is Brock at?
Brock is a 97.
Brock is a 97 and Angle is a 90. How many of Lesnar's best matches are with Angle?
A few of them.
Right. That's wild.
Lita, 90.
Sure, whatever.
Sure.
Whatever.
Yokozuna, 90.
It sure didn't feel like a 90 when we were watching that shit.
Hell no. The Macho Man Randy Savage, 89.
All right. It's time to
That's right. That's right. Macho Man below Jey Uso. Macho Man below Bailey. Macho Man below Cody Rhodes. Below Seth Rollins. Below Rob Van Dam. Below Edge. Below Randy Orton.
I don't
stop this.
Randy Savage is one of the few WWE wrestlers when you look at like the storylines and the matches and like the payoffs, and you compare him to other wrestlers, and you're like, you can be like, yeah, he's one of the very few in WWE history. Be like, yeah, that guy was probably better than Bret Hart. That's one of the very few fucking guys you can say that kind of shit about. That's weird. That's very weird that he's in the 80s. And obviously, the weird falling out in the 90s and shit, and then people lead to regular speculation. I'm not going to go there, but that's weird. Like, that dude is absolutely a pantheonic level wrestler for the history of WWF since cable or since WrestleMania.
Fuck that. Wrestling period.
Is. Like, you cannot name 10 wrestlers that are more important to WWE's history in the last 38 years or 39 years than Macho Man Randy Savage. You can't. That's strange, man.
JBL 89.
He's
JBL and Macho Man exactly the same.
I never got the JBL thing. It was just like I never got the fake Stan Hansen thing. Never got the he's a drunk like not a drunk Brody, but what do you call him? Like he's a tough guy that beats up people and drinks beers and takes their money for protection. I never got the acolyte shit. I never got the he's a Fox News person being a xenophobe. I never got the JBL thing ever. It's not for me. Sorry.
Goldberg 89.
Yeah, okay. This dude was at one point the second biggest person in the industry.
All these people I'm mentioning at 89 are 10 overalls behind Roman Reigns. Just keep that in mind.
Do you think Roman Reigns could sell George don't exist anymore? You think he could draw that?
Fuck no. By him, like they'd be like, all right, in 3 days we're gonna announce a random show and it's gonna sell 40,000 tickets. That he's gonna win the title in 3 days. Right. 40,000.
Right.
Cody Rhodes is higher than Goldberg.
Yeah, that too.
Triple H higher than Goldberg.
Yeah, I expected that though.
Batista 89. I think they could have showed Big Dave a little more love. You know, if Bobby Lashley's a 92, I think Batista could get a 92 at least.
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah.
Jimmy Uso 89.
So what? How many points is he? Is Jay above him?
1.
Okay.
Asuka 89.
I was gonna say these are like dominant, like double tag champions, and like they're in the 90s. Okay.
AJ Styles 89.
Is AJ still with the company? When's the last time you seen AJ wrestle?
I think he broke his elbow or foot, broke his ankle or some shit.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Withdrawn.
Yeah.
I thought he was off because so many people end up just off the pay-per-views now.
Yeah. All that TV time leads to like 5 matches on the show. I'm
fine with it because it makes shows faster to get through, and most of the matches end up being like of higher quality than you throw out a 7-match or 8-match card. I'm fine with that, but it's like if that's the case, that means your TV should be better because like you have more important matches on your TV. I don't seem to ever feel that when I hear people talk about SmackDown and Raws. Sometimes on SmackDowns, occasionally, but not really on Raws.
Braun Strowman also in 89. That's right. Braun Strowman, the same as the Macho Man. Gunther in 89.
Wow.
Kofi Kingston, 89. And on to the 88s. All right. I'm going to do these in rapid fire. 88 overall. Andre the Giant. Big E. Farouk. Xavier Woods. 6. Chyna. Booker T. Kevin Nash again. Shawn Michaels. 88. Ultimate Warrior. 88. Umaga. 88. Look at all these brothers as 88s on here.
Okay, how is
Shawn Michaels?
How are Shawn and Andre 88s, but fucking X-Pac 6 Waltman is an 88? That makes no fucking sense,
bro. Shawn Michaels, if you give him 10 overalls, he's still behind Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
bro. Shawn Michaels is an 88, while Triple H is a 93. Shawn Michaels is an 88 overall, while Lita is a 90.
Let's put it this way, right?
Shawn Michaels is an 88, while both Uso brothers clear him. Get the fuck out of here.
Yo,
horrible.
Like Shawn Michaels main evented 3 WrestleManias in 4 years. And those aren't the only WrestleManias he's main evented.
Right. I think he's main evented like 5 or some shit.
My point being, why the fuck is he an 88? If you main event WrestleMania 3 times in 4 years, 11 with the 11 main event was Diesel, right?
No, that was a semi-main event.
It was Lawrence Taylor, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay, so I withdrawn. Either way, he main evented 2 WrestleManias in 3 years.
Right. That's right.
That's weird.
That's right. Edge, 5 overall is better than Shawn Michaels. That's right.
On what planet?
Ronda Rousey, 5 overall is better than Shawn Michaels.
Do we know for sure? She's coming back for sure, right?
Who?
Ronda. Is she already back?
No idea. No idea.
Okay.
Yeah, unbelievable. 88 overall, and Ultimate Warrior also 88, which is kind of funny. So Gunther was an 88, but they realized we can't.
That's stupid.
We shouldn't do that. Because
so what did they do? They bumped him up to
they
what?
bumped him up to 89 because they didn't want the Nazi 88 thing on him.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
Speaking of Nazis, brought up the Kanye thing. I ain't think about that. Yeah, but yeah, man, that's
That's right. Braun Strowman better than Andre the Giant officially. Kofi Kingston better than Shawn Michaels officially.
It's wild, man. It's wild.
Rob Van Dam better than Shawn Michaels officially.
That's a great point. What the fuck is that?
What else we got? The Undertaker way better than Shawn Michaels apparently. Way better than him. Let's see. Okay. Now, everything below this is like there. I'm just going to kind of. Okay, Razor Ramon is in the game. He's a lot lower though. Okay, I'm gonna run through these. Stop me if you find something interesting.
Okay.
Diesel 87, Kane 87, Beth Phoenix 87, Kevin Owens 87. I was supposed to believe this guy was supposed to beat the guy that was rated 99 overall at some point during this title reign. Finn Balor, 87.
Hold on. Owens got Austin's return match at WrestleMania was the main reason why that match went off without a hitch and was actually like a very good damn match. And they have rewarded him in the year since basically by devaluing him so much, and now he's a fucking
he couldn't even get an 80. He couldn't even get an 88, James. Sheamus, career renaissance, 87.
I'm still tripping on like you get the Austin return match, you stunt on CM Punk on it, and then like you end up in a fucking tag match next year at WrestleMania. What was you stunned on? What was you stunned about?
I guess because he got the match CM Punk always wanted, which was Austin. But
if you told CM Punk was on the business end a year later, he wouldn't want that shit neither. Wait, so I get to be in a tag team where I'm the co-star. I'm not the actual A-star. I'm the co-star for the tag team belts.
Stinky. Shinsuke Nakamura, who hasn't been seen in months. 87.
Have we seen him since he fought Muta?
Look, no.
Like, I mean, has he been on TV? I don't know.
No.
Wow.
Scott Hall, 87. Brie Bella, 87. Molly Holly, 86. British Bulldog, 86. Matt Riddle, 86. Liv Morgan, 86. Karrion Kross, 86.
Why the fuck is he that high?
Jim Neidhart, 86. Rey Mysterio, 86. Jerry the King Lawler, 86. Rikishi, 86.
They cast the characters.
What is Rey Mysterio doing in there? What is Matt Riddle doing in there? That's right, James. They think of Rey Mysterio. They think the same thing about Liv Morgan. This is the point I was trying to make earlier in the show. Rey Mysterio and Liv Morgan have the same rating. This should be, these ratings should be abolished.
Well, in Vince's mind, they both got titles that they both didn't deserve, and then they were portrayed as not deserving of them, and then they took the belts off of them to someone that was bigger and better.
Man,
so yeah, you're kind of right.
Strikingly similar pushes. James, you was really like this is Rey Mysterio, the male Liv Morgan. Is this what we've come to on this show?
No, stop saying that. Don't put that out there. Don't do that.
Is
Don't
this
do that.
what we doing?
Don't do that. No, that's what you doing. That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing something totally different.
The ultimate underdog, you know. I don't know,
Maybe some rich that's illegal.
Okay. Ted DiBiase, 85. I'm shocked Ted couldn't swing a little bit more for his rating. You know.
My question is like, what is MJF gonna be on this game next year?
You stupid. Braun Breaker, 85. Alexa Bliss, 85.
Wow.
The Miz, 85.
So it seems like we wasted a lot of time on those 85s that like we were telling people like that ain't the way. And y'all keep forcing it and forcing it and forcing it, and then look how it manifests. 85.
Ilya Dragunov, 85. Rowdy Piper, 85. Absolutely disrespected.
Hey, like I asked, first DiBiase was 85. Now Roddy's 85. Where is MJF gonna come in on this game next year? these shitbag cheating ass heels, you're right there. 85 MJF next year. Take your ass to WWE and see what happens. See about it. Go ahead.
X-Pac, 85.
But 6 is what, an 88?
Yes.
Okay.
Razor Ramon, 84.
That's strange.
We have arrived. Sami Zayn, 84.
Wow.
This dude y'all was telling me was the hottest person in the business. The
problem is, we wasn't telling him that was actually accurate. The video game and the company
don't reflect that.
That's what they think. That's what they think of him. Yes.
This is what they think about you, Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
This is who they think you are. They think you are the same as Damian Priest, who was also an 84. Johnny Gargano, 84. Tommaso Ciampa, 84.
No, wait. Gargano and Sami Zayn are the same?
And Ciampa.
Oh, that's great. They're below the Miz. They're below the Miz. Wow.
Look, maybe we should listen to these people that try to tell us about the Miz, James.
Maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah. If you saw, I feel like y'all should, like, if you're a really big Sami Zayn person, you're hearing this, and you see him at the 84, like, bro, Sir Sam has said it the best. He is 15 overalls behind Roman Reigns. 15 behind him. This is what they think about him. Yeah. They're allowing this game. It's already been released. Like, people have this game and they're playing it already. The couple days early. The official release is Friday, but the one where they get early access to it, that's already out. They put this game out into the world with the number 84 slapped on Sami Zayn.
So, like, through the court, they don't change like the ratings and attributes like throughout the year like they would on like 2K.
Not often. Not often. I can't say I've seen like live changes. Sometimes they'll come up with like a my faction type person. That's like a new mode they're doing, and they might have something in there where they're juiced up. But the default rating 84.
Yikes. Check out where Sir Sam just said.
The greatest story in the history of wrestling. Excuse me. Worthy of an Emmy and an 84 rating.
Yeah.
I guess he should have tried to corpse them a few more times. Baron Corbin, 83. Raquel Rodriguez, 83. Dolph Ziggler, 83.
Damn.
Ezekiel, 83. Austin, that's Elias.
I'm about to say Ezekiel Jackson. Like, what the fuck? No. He came back when? Elias. Wow.
They should do live ratings in the game though. Like Black Sabre Jr. brought up, that would be funny. Your push goes down and your rating drops. Everyone would constantly be getting like negative ones throughout the year while Roman's just keeps going up.
Roman's staying at 99, everybody else dropping. Like, wait a second, he was like, how the hell did Brock Lesnar go from a 97 to an 87? What happened? Why did everybody just go down? He's like, no, Roman created more separation because he added another 100 days to the reign. Like,
what? Austin Theory 82. James,
he needs a match with Cena.
He gets a match with John Cena. James, people were trying to tell me this guy's like the future of the business and like he's a can't miss superstar. James, he's an 82 on here, man. What? Shayna Baszler's an 82. Carmella Hayes an 82. The Hurricane is an 82. Almost 82. Montez Ford 82. Ricochet 82. Natalia 82. Io Sky 82. Solo Sikoa.
Cut this shit off. Stop. I get it. You just I get it. Just stop, please. I'm done. I want no more. It's information overload.
Solo Sikoa 82.
Damn.
Tyler Bate 82.
Wait, where's Dakota Kai?
We haven't gotten to her yet.
Just scroll down to give me her number. We can quit from there.
Dakota Kai. Good God. Let's see. Ooh. I am searching. I am searching. What was that? Roy Ayers. I'm searching. I believe that was. She is an 80 overall, James.
All right. We can move on. We get the drift.
Boy, these ratings. We pay attention to these every year because I think it's kind of like the Royal Rumble where we kind of get to see what the company thinks of people at a given moment at a certain point in time. And it's funny to pay attention to these year after year. I remember when Jinder Mahal was a champion, he was an 88 overall, which was they knew they couldn't go any higher, but they slowly started dropping him year after year. He was like an 83 after that. Now he's back in the 70s. So, as far as anyone else that I think is really pertinent, there's just tons of muck in the 70s. Dom Mysterio's a 78.
Who's the lowest rated?
Eric Bischoff, 64. But as far as a wrestler, Shanky, 67.
Oh, that was the pitcher, wasn't it?
No, I don't think Shanky is the pitcher. Veer's the pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's Babatunde?
Remember Babatunde? Commander Aziz, I believe. Right. 71 overall.
Wow. 71. That man broke up. That man shut up and broke up an Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, where's Apollo?
79.
Yeah. Wasn't that just awesome that we did that? That was the beginning of like the ruination of singles Big E right there.
Yeah, man. So what do you guys think of the ratings? Let us know. But yeah, man, this is.
Brewhaven said Papa H has no love for his NXT kids. Nah, man. In fact, he ain't got no love for Shawn Michaels. He gave that man an NXT job and said, "We dropping your whole career down to 88. Fuck that 95 you built over decades, right? Nah."
Hey, Shawn Michaels,
down to
NXT kid. Literally. Yeah, man. So let's move it over to AEW Dynamite this week. This was like a post-show kind of reset show, I think.
Yep.
I wasn't particularly like enthralled about the night, but a lot of angles.
You didn't like all the goddamn heat on the show?
No, that didn't bother me, but it was just like I just didn't think stuff was necessarily good.
I mean, that's a part of it. Is like they're gonna give you a whole bunch of things, and all the baby faces got their ass kicked, like almost all of them. It's like, okay, like can you give me half of that, and then like do the other half 2 weeks from now? Jesus.
So we opened up with did some clips from Revolution, and then it started with Jay Lethal and Orange Cassidy when this match was announced. A lot of people online were aghast. They were tired of seeing Jay Lethal already. This match was okay. I was kind of bored. But Orange Cassidy always gets the crowd up.
It started
you think
slow.
it is?
It started slow, especially of them getting to the story of Orange Cassidy has an injured, damaged knee, and Lethal has an injured arm, and like ultimately it didn't kick into gear until they got up both on the apron, and then like they're exchanging chops, and then Orange starts doing like the soft chop stuff, and then from there, it was really good, but it just I think they played it too straightforward for Orange Cassidy at the start. They didn't give enough of the Orange Cassidy stuff at the beginning, and then then do that stuff and then get back to the goofiness, which is kind of the magic sauce of what he does on his match. He starts with it first, and I think we're kind of so used to it that kind of hurt the crowd. They're kind of like, we want to see the thing that he does all the time. Do the thing, do your dance, and he's like, no, I don't want to do my dance till later. And he's like, all right, well, we'll be here until you do your dance. And then he did his dance, and the crowd got into it. You should do your dance more often. So
I thought the finish was actually pretty creative. Like
exactly.
Like Lethal goes for the lethal injection, but his arm gives out. Then he catches.
And also, it's embarrassing. It's like, bro, you knew you had a bad arm. You still tried it, and you fucking failed.
Where's your ring savvy?
Right.
But Orange Cassidy ends up getting the win. And Lethal was going to attack him, but Bryce Remsburg basically tells him to go away. And then all of a sudden, the last outlaw appears. Right. And attacks Orange Cassidy and hits him with the guitar in the knee. And we know this is the setup for one of 2023's most anticipated matches. Jeff Jarrett challenging Orange Cassidy for the newly dubbed AEW International Championship. I can't wait.
So Jay Lethal was ultimately just a guy that was there to soften him up. He's just a goon now.
Yeah.
I never really took I never really took Jay Lethal as a goon to set up for Jarrett, who is the real big heel act of the thing. I just thought they were just a tandem. That was weird to see, like the whole have the match, have the well fought match, lose, distract the ref, so that I know that Jarrett's about to come in after this long ass match and then like take his knee out because I knew I was never going to actually beat Orange Cassidy. Why did you quit earlier? It was whatever. But like I will say this. When Jarrett came out and Cassidy was down still and he bashed that fucking thing over his knee, I fucking howled because normally you see him with the guitar, you expect this to bash on his brain and it's like, okay, he's gonna smash it, but when he hit that knee, I was like, that's fucking hilarious because I ain't never seen it bashed over someone's knee and that shit exploded and then Orange had to sell the leg. That shit was funny.
Sound like Double J won you over,
He popped me. He's always popped me with the guitar stuff though. So like that ain't really nothing new.
Look, I'm saying it now. Strap up, Double J. What we waiting on? Let's do it. Let's do it.
I wouldn't do that, but because I can't really be expecting Jeff Jarrett to be out here having championship matches in 2023. That's dumb. Like I dreaded watching that man in the ring in a tag match a couple weeks ago.
So after that, we learned about the break-in that Wardlow suffered. I was completely fooled by this thing. I thought this man actually got his shit jacked. That's a lot of trouble to go through, so I don't really feel bad about being fooled on that one. So they did an interview with Hobbs backstage. Basically said he was going to win. He would never get jacked, essentially. In
his neck of the woods, yeah.
Yep. There's one thing Wardlow has and he doesn't. That's a right to be called champion. He's going to take that from him tonight. Ricky Starks came out, got on the mic, said he's done it all. He gets people ask him what's next, and the truth is he's not sure. Always love hearing that from our baby faces. But the question...
I ain't got no... Just want to let you people know that believe in me. I don't know what I'm doing from here on out. I have no idea.
I have no idea. I showed up to this building and I was just lost.
I have no goals. I have nothing left to aspire for. Haven't I inspired enough of y'all? I ain't got none for me. I have nothing for myself. I was giving all to y'all. That's when you turn heel when you say shit like that.
Yeah. But the question that weighs on his mind is not what he's going to do, but where he's going to go next. And all of a sudden, a Bullet Club graphic popped up, music appeared. Starks was looking at the entrance, and then all of a sudden, Juice Robinson came in, attacked him, and I saw this, and I was like, I saw Cody Rhodes versus Juice Robinson. I did not like that pro wrestling. Big feud for Juice Robinson to kind of try to carve some real estate, and I feel like I say that for him all the time, and it has not quite taken. Whether it was John Moxley or Darby Allin, didn't stand out in any way against either of those guys. And now Ricky Starks, if you ask me, who, what kind of match do you have an easier chance with? It might be Darby Allin, it might be John Moxley. Juice versus Starks here. I feel like this is a short thing for Ricky to get a win and then launch into whatever he's going to do next. But this is about to be a gentleman's 3.
You sure it's that?
Yeah, I won't disrespect him too hard.
Look, man, I have no interest whatsoever. I gotta see
begging for that Jericho thing to end.
Sorry,
people were just begging for that Jericho thing to end.
Yeah. There's no way to have a match as good as that from that opener. And I wasn't necessarily thinking that was a great match. I thought it was a very good match. That's like a 3.5, 3 3/4 type of thing. Yeah, I just don't think Juice got to get on the board with me first in AEW for anything else. I'm just gonna keep my arms crossed and not want him on my screen until he comes through. So you have to prove it because he's had opportunity and it's not worked, as you mentioned, with notable people that always have good fucking matches. So yeah, man. Look. Can you imagine if Jay Lethal came in wrestling like that? He would never be brought back. He never brought back. Nope. ARS Fox never would have seen him again.
Yep. I think the thing with Juice is, people have heralded him as this great promo and everything like that. But I got news for all these people.
He's a wacky promo.
He's very wacky, and a lot of his stuff was built on cussing. A lot. You can't cuss on national television like that. You can. It's AEW, so you can probably drop a shit here or there, or an ass, or something like that. But I think a lot of his stuff was built on cussing. The stuff that I've seen, at least. Maybe there's more stuff, but
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. So and we all know the rap on Juice. Since 2019, he's not been the same. I don't know what happened to him. Monstars got him. I don't know, but I'm just thankful he didn't choose to show up as a blues brother again.
I don't think I don't like heel Juice Robinson. I haven't liked it. I didn't like that G1 run last year. It was very underwhelming, to say the least. He was in there with Will Ospreay, and he had to go out there and have the first half of Ospreay's run in those Budokan Hall shows was, I need you to hurt my neck so that I can get to Naito, and then Naito, has a masterclass on my neck. And it wasn't even that good. It is Will fucking Ospreay. So, yeah, man, I just don't like this heel thing with him. I haven't heard any of his heel promo work, so I can't speak on that. But when he was a babyface and he was, flamboyant stuff, he was a wacky promo, but he was fun at times, right? I don't know what it's going to look like in AEW. I want to hear him talk first. I want to see where it goes.
To me,
I'll give him that but to see where he goes with as far as talking, but as far as match, he got to prove it with me.
To me, he comes off as a guy that knows he might have missed his chance to kind of become a real big star, and now he's just kind of, he's kind of accepted his lot in life here. But and I think you can take that back to some of the questions that I think even Strongstyle was asking him back in the day, where he just kind of gave these awkward answers. It was why do you think you haven't got your chances compared to other people that are Americans that have been in New Japan as far as America? And he just gave I don't know. It just, I think he's peaked. And maybe that's that's all right. Maybe he can just come in and be a good contributor. We shouldn't be expecting superstardom from Juice Robinson, but.
Yeah, but like if you're gonna be asked to be a contributor, like you better contribute like Trent or Frank Kazarian, because like we could have Frank Kazarian turn heel and he have good ass matches.
I mean, Kazarian don't work here no more, so.
Well, you know what I mean. Someone of that ilk that fit that role of being a person that coming to like shit. Christian, fine. Shit, you want to say Christian? Christian comes in, he fills that role of being a guy that comes in. Jay Lethal too comes in, has really good matches normally.
So after that, we got an interview with Wardlow. He was in an FTR t-shirt. I was like, man, we couldn't get that brother nothing else to wear. But, he was there. He said he doesn't have his gear tonight, so he wants to match to be a Falls Count Anywhere, anything goes match tonight.
I like the idea that they were trying to get us to believe that one of the FTR guys like handed him down that gear out of whatever they got, and like they wear the same size stuff that Wardlow wears. That's what they tried to put over on us.
That's not the worst thing that they've tried to pull over on us this evening. So
that's true. That's true.
He said nobody's gonna take the TNT belt away from him. Okay, partner. Renee's in the ring. She set to interview Ruby Soho. Ruby came out. She said it's pretty obvious why she joined up with Saraya and Tony Storm. Says we all created this monster. That's right, us people with the power. She said her very first match was against title match was against Britt Baker, and when she lost, these people were thrilled. True. So many people fast forward past that to the semifinals of the Owen Hart tournament where she faced another homegrown and Chris Statlander. Remember the response that when she got when she beat Statlander, they booed her out of the building. True. Then we got the Revolution when Jamie Hayter pinned her in the middle of the ring. She realized no one was ever going to come to her defense. No one's going to be mad when she lost, and no one in AEW would ever appreciate her, but she's not the only one. Tony Storm came here and was so unappreciated that she got called an interim champion. Now, this was Cap. She said, we all begged Saraya to come out of retirement, and then all these fat, neck-bearded, mouth-breathing trolls came after her in a moment's notice. They've been outcast since the moment they came to AEW. James, she said basically the broken foundation is the entitled shits in the back, the rookies that think they deserve the world, so she wants to bring out her entitled rookie opponent, Sky Blue. I thought it was actually a good promo for being a You People promo.
Yeah, it's one of the better you people promos I've heard in a long time. Yeah.
I specifically remember the Statlander thing, like for sure. That's exactly why she got booed.
Like all of it from her perspective, is all honest and truthful, right? Like obviously, the reason why the crowd immediately went cold on Saraya was because like she, did the big league stuff, right?
Yeah.
On Britt. But at the same time, you can make an argument that like people are too particular about those kind of words or whatever else, especially when like it's two people arguing with each other that don't like each other, right? Like you say mean things to each other, and then all of a sudden it turns into, wait, but Britt is really a star. And it's like, who gives a shit? They're two people that hate each other. They're gonna lie. It's fine. So yeah, but like yeah. So from her perspective, I thought that like all that stuff had shades of truth that are good enough to be believable from her perspective as a character. And like for me, as far as I'm concerned, she's the leader of that group now. Saraya, Tony don't really do much of the talking anyway. She's really about the wrestling, and then like Saraya ain't, right now ain't too good at either one right now, and she's the third in the ring. So like, yeah, make that that is the new Riot Squad, and I'm good with it for right now. Yeah, I like the direction. I like the promo. I like the match. Honestly, it wasn't like it was some great match or even a very good match, but like I like the stuff that that she was doing with
Sky
Blue. Because Sky Blue clearly is inexperienced, and she had to stay in there with her throughout the whole match.
Yeah, like this was decent. As far as the promo, like you said, I think she made some good points, and the whole Saraya thing was funny, but and I think my ears were so trained to look out for the people promo and then growing. That was like, oh,
right.
She actually like kind of made sense. So
right.
I guess
it's like
I'll give her props on that.
Right. It's second to see a match that I know is going to go long, and I see like the heel roll out the ring. Like fucking A. Can you just stop? Can you not right now?
What do you make of them being called the Outcasts, James?
She mentioned in the promo that they were Outcasts. Like the name, as far as like the connection to Outcast, the rap group, it's obviously a coincidence.
Yeah.
Well, not a coincidence, but like, yeah, that's there. If you want to, say they shouldn't use the name, that's up to you. I think it's fine. I think it's a perfect name or perfectly acceptable name for the way what she stated in that promo is like, we came from another place and we came here and you liked us for a second and then you turn or quote unquote, favorite other people than us, and like now there's no place for us. We're kind of displaced. You kind of are social outcasts in this company. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'm glad they didn't decide to spell it the same way and use the same
Oh,
font
that would have never
motif and everything like that. So thank you guys for not doing that.
This is GCW. We stopped this.
But Soho and Sky Blue.
Can't wait till the Aquemini GCW pay-per-view drops.
GCW bombs over Baghdad,
Humble GCW presents Humble Mumble.
GCW presents Idlewild,
No, GCW presents the Mighty O.
GCW presents Liberation.
Wow. Players Ball. GCW Players Ball.
I feel like that's happened. I feel like that's happened.
It could have.
GCW Southern
GCW
Playalistic
presents Dungeon Family.
GCW Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music.
GCW does their first show in Atlanta. They call that shit AT Aliens.
Sick. Absolutely sick. Ruby wins with the destination unknown.
God damn it, GCW Rosa Parks. Oh, if they do that shit, they shut that. Look, they could. That's the one they can't do. They'd be like,
I will show up and throw tomatoes at the ring. Sick. Absolutely sick.
Oh,
damn you, Adam.
GCW so fresh so clean is something they absolutely have thought about doing that one. They've absolutely thought about doing that.
So post match, Rey and Toni Storm bring out the spray paint because of course got to paint them up. And they also painted up Riho this week, which I was not happy about.
That's the heat, brother.
Yep, they got me. They got me. I was like, how y'all scoundrels spray paint Riho out here? No. So Will Nightingale comes out. She's trying to talk sense into Ruby, but Saraya and Tony kind of circled around, and then Willow all of a sudden can't see anymore, and then she got attacked and then hit with a no future. This was LeBron James, you bum of the month material or week material from Willow right here.
I don't know so much as a bum. She didn't fight as much as she's just a dummy. Like, okay, she comes out to make the save for Sky Blue. She comes out wearing an AEW shirt, which is a dead giveaway to like, oh, she finna get laid out. Damn dummy. Why are you Willow Nightingale with your own fucking t-shirt coming out in the AEW company shirt? Anyway,
painted on.
Yeah, come down. Obviously, it was her. Was it her, Tony, and Willow that were like a trio?
Yes, she was teaming with Ruby.
It was Ruby, Willow. Who was the third? Was it Tony?
I don't know the third.
A few months ago,
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, anyway, so they were like they were hanging around each other a lot on TV or whatever else. So then she's like, kind of doing like, come on, you ain't got to do this. This ain't you. It ain't too far to come back. Huh?
This isn't you, Colby.
So then all three were in the ring. Ruby was in the middle. Obviously, Saraya and Tony were on the sides. When she rolled in, they rolled out, and I was like, "What the fuck? They finna chip? Like, are they waiting for Ruby to lay her out?" And then nope, they just basically rolled out the side, came in, rolled in the ring the other side, rolled out the ring on the sides, went behind Willow, came to the ring, and then they just attacked her from behind, and then they laid her out too. And I was like, "Damn it, Willow, you damn dummy, damn."
I mean, many of our greatest baby faces are dumb, so I mean,
yes, that's what makes it extra frustrating.
So after that, we got Hangman interviewed backstage by Renee. Said he's been doing better physically, but his soul and his heart are doing just fine. He did what he did on Sunday, not because he wanted to, but because he had to, and let that be a warning to anybody else that wants to try him, because he'll drag you through hell. He then apologized to Renee for what she had to see, and if he wants to blame somebody, don't look at him. Or she wants to blame somebody, don't look at him. And it's he basically like clears up, hey, I know this has been awkward for you, and hopefully everything's all right. But after Sunday, he's finished with Jon Moxley.
Yeah. His face was like his forehead and face.
He showed up with that eye. Jesus.
Yeah, I was fucked up. Forehead fucked up. You can see like on his around his neck was all fucked up too. It's like, and then you see Moxley, later in the show, and you're like, well, you tell me who won that fight. The motherfucker that lost looked fresh as a daisy, except for a black eye. He lost the aesthetic battle on that one. Hangman did. Yep. At least he won the fight.
After that, we showed a post-match promo from MJF talking about his win over Danielson. Said he's going to celebrate being the most perfect wrestler in the world. He's going to do it with a rebar mitzvah. We've been seeing all these photos of him from when he was 13 years old popping up in the advertising this whole week. So we'll see what that's about. He's really pushing this best in the world thing, best wrestler in the world thing pretty hard of late.
So when do you think he's coming in?
Who?
Well, you said that he's pushing his best in the world thing, so I figured you meant that Punk was coming back, so he can go ahead and take that L to MJF.
I thought it was more like, him setting the groundwork or making fun of Danielson because they've been calling him that, and then
I was thinking it's both.
Letting him size Kenny too a little bit too. So
I think it was all of that. Like his whole thing now. I guess now that we're past the, it looks like we're not getting the Eddie Kingston thing. Is like, all right, who are the highest acclaimed guys or whatever else they get the actual talk, or at least has the gimmick of best in the world or whatever else, and he's about to get up against them, have his best match of his career against those guys, and then claim that he's
Yep.
Right. It'd be like this is what like Miz and Daniel Bryan should have been if like Miz was a better wrestler.
I think that was one thing that I said before this whole thing started. I was like, I guess their goal is going to be to do Bryan versus Miz, but like in a way that WWE could never do it because Miz is clearly
Miz isn't nearly the wrestler that or athlete that MJF is. Yeah.
After that, Tony Schiavone was in the ring to interview FTR. So it was good to see Cash Wheeler come out. And then both of those guys came out to the ring, and they talked about how the last few months have been. They lost to the Acclaimed, the Guns. They lost 3 sets of tag titles in roughly a month. And they lost one of their best friends in wrestling and the world, meaning Jay Briscoe. And they had to take a step back and a recharge and all that stuff, and all I heard was, man, they did a lot of losing. Sounds like they need to start over, brother. They need to go to Elevation, start racking up some wins. AEW Dark Tuesdays. Let's get these boys back working.
I thought you were more thinking like I was thinking like they're more or less saying like, hey, we were on our way out of town, and then like we heard that Vince is back, and we sorry to Mr. Tony Khan. We sorry for all the things. We sorry for all the things we've started. But we hope that we can, start over again. That's what it sounded like to me.
He said they can't sit at home in good conscience and watch the Guns call themselves the best team in wrestling. I said they're good, they're the champs, and they're the future, but they're spoiled, disrespectful assholes. Their father gave them every advantage, and his dad couldn't do that. He taught them how to fight and be respectful, and he's going to teach the Guns those lessons. Dax Harwood also was there. He said usually he'd talk about his daughter, but he's going to talk about us, the fans. He said at a time where he thought he couldn't be loved or love pro wrestling, we showed him that he could, and damn it, he loves us too. December, they closed the book on the greatest trilogy of matches in their career, and they knew they had done something special, and the Guns took away that feeling. His last memory of one of his most special friends in the business was taken away, and now is the time for retribution. It'd be easy to beat their ass, but they have to hit them where it hurts and take away their tag belts. They have to do it for themselves, for the Briscoes, and for all of us. Top guys out.
You You left out one key point of what
yeah.
Ball said at the
Yeah,
end.
go ahead and let us know.
He says something along the lines, I can't remember it verbatim, but I watched this today. He said, it's finally time for FTR to win the AEW World Tag Team titles. And in my mind, I was like, you fucker, you've done it again. You're back on this FTR shit where we are out here pretending as if you've never been the AEW World Tag Team champions, and you and the Mighty FTR have been held back by the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Fuck y'all. Stop doing that shit. That's annoying.
Yep.
And it rise up your most wild, ridiculous fan base that are also those cornetters that are also come out here and say that discussing shit to Riho and whoever else is on the roster. You're doing a disservice to your own fucking colleagues. That's bullshit. Stop doing it.
Yep, it's never happened. They're treating the shit like it's Andre the Giant never being slammed. But this is actually, this isn't the first time the FTR and FTR Non has started pushing these things about things that they claim never happened. They claim the Young Bucks never have never lost to them before.
Right. That's what goes in line with this shit with their fans. It's like, bro, you are stoking those flames. Like when I saw that shit today, I sent a message to you. You remember what that message was?
Yeah.
You want me? Should I say it?
Go ahead.
I was like, this is like the equivalent of like when Trump was telling the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. It's like, you know what you're doing. You're trying to speak in code, except this is obvious to every fucking body. Stop that shit.
Love that FTR. Love that FTR. Yeah. So, I support their ambitions. Let them boys, have a nice series with the Guns, perhaps even win the championship. Let them go on a run. Let them start running through the tag team division. Just beat this team, beat that team, left and right. And eventually, you might need to do a big match. Eventually, and then when it's time for you to lose, we'll just keep going. AR Fox and Top Flight taking on the Jericho Appreciation Society. This was kind of fun seeing these guys in there.
Goofy. So Garcia and Guevara, who have historically always worn trunks to the ring, they come out in the leather pants because they're all like, it's Jericho Appreciation. They're appreciating their daddy Jericho. Yeah, I thought it was fucking hilarious. They're all in leather pants. Like, what is this? But yeah, I thought, it was okay. I feel like AR Fox and Dante are like protecting Darius a little bit. Like Darius shouldn't be out there yet or something. Yeah, it feels like he's very tentative still compared to what he used to be before he hurt himself.
I think Darius has got to he's got to recommit a little bit. I think to the.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. So, but beyond that, this was kind of like a match just to introduce Jazz into the trios ranks. Essentially, yeah. I don't mind this unit. They all kind of do different things. They're pretty entertaining.
I don't mind it. I honestly wish that Guevara and Jericho or Guevara and Garcia were just a 2v2 tag team. But this still works, at least for now.
So they ended up cheating with Hager hitting Dante Martin with or Darius Martin with Floyd, and then they get the win.
Not the podcaster.
Yeah, shout out to Floyd. We'll probably cut this shit off as soon as we started. I'll talk about FTR, but
yeah, probably.
After that, Angelo Parker tells us that they say it's the greatest trios win in history. Tells the crowd to light the beam because they're in Sacramento, of course.
Yes. And the crowd was like halfway happy that they got acknowledged about the beam shit, and then the other half was like, "Hey, don't mock us."
Yeah, wait a minute, fuck you.
Yeah. I actually watched them versus the Knicks on, I want to say it was Friday night.
How was that?
Bro, they're a fun watch. The Kings are a fun watch. Like Sabonis and Fox, they're going to be their go-to guys in the playoffs, and they look like they're up for it. So, but yeah, that light the beam thing, they after the game they beat the Knicks, and I never seen it, I only heard about it in podcasts, and I saw them press that shit, and then all of a sudden they cut to the outside of the ring, and that shit beamed up like the fucking Enterprise outside the state. I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Okay, that's cool. That's kind of fun.
I hear light the beam, and I started thinking about Pookie, beam me up, Scotty.
That's what I was thinking too at first. I was like, I don't even know what this means. Are y'all talking about beaming up the same way that other people talk about beaming up? Because that don't sound exactly like something you should associate with the NBA. This ain't the 80s.
Yeah.
But yeah.
After that,
I like them doing that stuff with like the local crowds. I do.
Yeah. Garcia gets on the mic, says they should be the number one contenders for the trios belts. Sammy says they're the sexiest group alive. Then the lights go out after Jericho reinstates it. I knew the Elite was coming out the whole time. A lot of people thought it was House of Black that were doing that, but that was
a good switcheroo.
Yeah, I was like, bro, they've got to find a way to get Omega and Jericho in the ring together for Winnipeg, and this is how they do it. I didn't get my singles match I wanted, but I guess this is the next best thing. But Kenny gets on the mic, says for the last 3 years they've stayed out of each other's lanes, and he likes to think that comes from mutual respect. But when you talk about the trios title, then Don cuts him off, grabs the mic, says the Elite established the trios belts, and after Revolution, it should be obvious they're the number one contenders. On a personal note, him and Chris have been friends for over 30 years, and he agrees with the people that say Jericho's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Unfortunately, he's only the second best wrestler from Winnipeg, and he says even if he had a couple months to train, Chris might be number 3. And then Jericho was pissed, challenged him to come down and get it. Lights went out, of course, again, because the House of Black was like, how dare anybody else turn the lights out? And then they appeared on the Tron, and then they turned the lights out again. After Malachi Black said, hey, y'all all deserve to be humiliated in y'all hometown, so if y'all want us, the lights basically came back on, cut off again. Then they're in the middle of the joint, basically between the ring and the stage, bottom of the ramp.
Elite that's on top of the ramp, and JSA that's in the ring. Yeah.
Yep. And then, the lights go out again, and then they're gone. So they set up a triple trios match. A triple trios match next week for the trios belts. So
that's gonna be great.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome,
bruh. No, okay. It's the Elite. It's Matthews. It's Malachi, and it's Guevara. With 8 other bodies to work with amongst all that talent we just mentioned, plus the mind of Jericho, plus the mind of like Callis on the outside fucking around. Like, they're going to break out some outrageous shit.
Like, I would give
because they're going to be in Winnipeg, and they're going to want to have a crazy match for their hometown.
Bro, I would give them like the last half hour of the show, or like open the show with this shit. Like, and
I'd
say,
open.
Y'all go 30 minutes. Like, run it. After that, yeah, I'm into the match. So,
yeah.
Tony Khan then appears, and we'll talk about the joint now. He said that Orange Cassidy will defend the All-Atlantic title against Jeff Jarrett for the final defense of that belt next week in partnership with Warner and Discovery, and to promote the new Shazam movie. They'll be leveling the title up to create the AEW International Championship. So we get a hype reel for the film and the title defense next week. So the All-Atlantic belt is now the AEW International Championship.
Well, it's gonna be the same belt design, except they're taking, from what I saw, it's gonna be the same exact belt design, except they're taking out All Atlantic, adding International.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm wondering what made them change it out of All Atlantic. Maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe I wonder what happened from up top that made them say, "Hey, change the name."
Yeah. Maybe they just kept looking at that Japanese flag on the belt and was like, "Yeah, we can't just
in China."
Yeah. Like we can't do that. I actually like the name change. The IC championship.
For me, I was okay with it being All Atlantic at the time because, like, obviously it was functioning as an Intercontinental title, but there's not many names you can come up with that doesn't make you think of the Intercontinental title. And now it's International title, and all I think about is the Continental title. So, like, I see why they went with All Atlantic. Or whatever was the particular reason for why. I forgot the original name because it was like something about like something with water touching all the continents or whatever else.
Yeah.
Or whatever else, or some poetic thing. And I was like, okay, fine. It gives me the distinction of it doesn't make me immediately think of Intercontinental, even though I know it functions as Intercontinental title. Now, International Intercontinental, it's an AEW Intercontinental belt. It is now.
But yeah. So besides that, like, let's keep going.
Yeah. Orange Cassidy better not lose his fucking belt.
Let's go Double J,
bro. So what? Okay, so Jeff Jarrett wins the Intercontinental belt or sorry, I'm calling the AEW kind of on purpose now. I'm sorry, on accident now. So like he wins the international belt and what takes it to AAA and starts doing that racist shit again.
Boy,
that's his first move, right? Right?
I don't know, but I haven't really thought
nasty,
that far.
Man. I don't want that.
I haven't really thought about it that far. I'm just on this strap up Double J agenda. We'll figure it out. The rest later on. I think he's been tremendous in his time in the company. If you left your preconceived Jeff Jarrett notions at the door, I think he's been phenomenal. He doesn't have to be a main eventer. If he loses, fine. I'm cool with that. However, I think it would be tons of fun to strap him up.
It would only serve the purpose of you didn't want to beat Orange Cassidy. You need to get it on somebody else that you didn't want Orange Cassidy to lose to. So like that's the only purpose of having him be the champion. So if that's the case, then I don't think that's a good enough reason not to do it. Right? Like if you're going to make Takeshita the champion, right? Like just have him beat Orange Cassidy. He'll get more from beating Orange Cassidy than he will beating Jeff Jarrett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
not to say that Takeshi is actually the hand-picked guy, but I'm saying like someone of that ilk makes sense to have that belt eventually.
Right. So after that, we got a post-match promo from Bryan Danielson. Strangely, that ended up echoing my sentiments from last week, where I said this man has to go home. He talks about wanting to teach his kids to fight for his dreams, but Max was right. His whole career, he thought fighting was the best way to fight and fight and fight and fight. And when he woke up from the label lock, his first instinct was to fight. Then he realized he couldn't feel his arms and his left leg had no strength. And MJF told him he was putting himself before his family, and he was right. He thinks it's time to go home.
Which is code for these boys later in the show finna turn heel. And I ain't gonna be there. I ain't gonna be there to deal with that until later. And then we'll see when I return if I'm gonna be heel or if I'm gonna feud against them. That's all that really was. Not bad. I'm okay with it. I will say this though. Obviously Moxley. Or maybe we should save this for later. But yeah,
I mean,
let's say
it's next. So
it
was like literally Bryan Danielson video, Blackpool Combat Club entrance. Like so, it was like
okay. Yeah, so they end up facing Orange. So it's Cesaro and Moxley versus Reynolds and Silver.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, man, like Claudio's a really good fucking bully. We've always known that. He's really fucking good at being a bully and just like battering people that he's bigger than. He really is.
I like this better than him being a babyface.
Yeah. Like, you know what it reminds me of? Obviously, I don't think he's at that same level athletically. I don't think he's also don't think he's in the ring with the level of wrestler either. But like, it reminded me of like him when he used to like those Sami Zayn matches in NXT, where it's like he's the strongest, toughest guy in the world. He's wrestling this guy that just will not stay down, and he has to like just beat the shit out of him and be so mean to get this dude to stay down. And like seeing that side difference, him like throwing European uppercuts to into Silver's chest, it was like, God, he's such a good bully. And then like the pull apart stuff at the end after like, you know, they're pushing around those guys, then comes down your boy Evil Uno comes down and they beat his ass too, and that forces Paige to come down, and they, you know, and they're handling Paige, they got the numbers advantage, and then like refs try to help break it up.
Paige like steals off on Castagnoli, like he was like, "Hey man, I'm leaving here with something." Like
right, but like during like the breakup part, the pull apart part, like Cesaro's still out here manhandling and beating the shit out of Silver on the side or whatever else. I was like, even like while he's supposed to be like getting held back, he's like, "Get the fuck off me! I got more ass kicked." And I was like, "Bro, you want no smoke with Cesaro, bro? Or sorry, with Claudio, bro? He will like, bro." Obviously, you know, like the times when he would like grab Moxley and just carry him and walk him off. It's like, bro, obviously the strong man gimmick is his gimmick, but we don't know how strong that man really is. Like that man will rip your head off like that man will rip, if he needed to, will rip your head off like the top of a jelly jar. You want no smoke with that guy too. He's so strong and he's so mean. It's great. It's gonna be great.
So Blackpool Combat Club officially turns heel. So I'm down with this. I've kind of wanted to boo those guys personally. You know, from their initial presentation, but it looks like this might be setting up the summer of Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite. So if so,
I can see that.
Sign me the fuck up, because there's some reconciliation.
I can see the Elite reuniting, and I can see that starting. And I can lead that, blood and guts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff to be worked out there.
And they can finally do a BCC blood and guts right, because they'll actually be the heels this time, and they actually get heat when they have the advantage, as opposed to we create our own advantage. We're man down, we whooping your ass.
Yes, bro, that shit was so weird. Like that's funny. We had 2 like war game style matches last year, right?
And they were both done wrong.
They were both but one of the alignment was right, but it was still wrong, like how they did it, because. I don't know. It should, and then like the WWE one, it was just like somewhere completely else.
Yeah, but I think the prevailing logic for them was like it's 2.0 in this ring. There is no real man advantage. I think that's what they were coming up with. It's like you think like Claudia, you think I'm finna sell for them? Hell no! Oh, this uppercut.
But so they've been on Being the Elite this week. They had like this flashback kind of. Hangman was on there, and he was kind of hinting at something with the Young Bucks. So we'll see where that goes.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. Do you think too much time has passed to where now it's the elephant in the room and you can't do it, or you think it's insignificant? Like when Omega left, he after Revolution 2021. He didn't see that like the Young Bucks basically gave Hangman the blessing to surpass Omega or beat Omega, whatever. And he said like, I'm going away. I haven't watched it yet. I'll check it out later. And then he just came back, and then he had to go away because he got caught in that fuckery with CM Punk, and now he's back, and they haven't really let them talk at all until this particular week. Do you think it's too late to actually pull the trigger on hurt feelings over him seeing that eventually, or do you think they just let it ride? It's too far past gone, and whatever we were going to do with it, we can't even do that now.
I think they can still do it, but I think it would be smart for them to pick it up at a time where it's like after like whatever reconciliation may happen now, like just kind of let it be uneasy, and then like he could always just pop up out of the blue, like, hey, I checked out the match, and then it's on from there. But I don't think it's the case. Like, I mean, if they did it now, I think it would be fine. I think there's just other things that are more pertinent, I think, right now.
Or do you think that's actually like the way they get out of, or what do you think that's actually like gets resolved? I guess I'm asking like, one, do you think they'll ever actually do something with it? And two, if they are, do you think, if you think they wanted to, do you think it's too far past because of all the stuff that's happened?
No, because
you can pick it up and be like, all right, they do blood and guts, right? And then like Omega turns on them in the middle of the match, at the end of the match or whatever.
I think you can pick it up just because like, I think a major part of like the Elite like storylines are always constant callbacks, like about just anything, and it can come at any time. So it kind of all like, it would just be another in a line of that, I think, and it would be fine.
But you're not concerned that like it's too unbelievable he has not watched that match back and it's been over a year?
I mean, I guess you would just have to paint the picture of him being Kenny being very busy with his rehab and everything else. Didn't really have time to think about Hangman Page.
But he had plenty of time while he was suspended.
They never acknowledged that. So they never acknowledged him being suspended. So
what you mean you ain't got the time? They sent your ass home.
Yo, they sent him home.
All right, good. You can move on.
He went to the Dome after that, so he was a little busy. He was training for Will. That's what what the cover should have been. Like, yeah, I was deep in training for I knew I was wrestling at the Dome.
Like you were deep in training, you were watching tape, you decided not to watch the tape of like your last singles match.
Right.
You don't think
lost that footage,
Yeah. Just
somehow misplaced.
Yeah. You could be like, well, I couldn't really get a hold of it. Like, it's not like we have a network for our streaming.
That's some BTE shit right there. That would be some BTE shit. I tried to load the AEW network, but we don't have one.
That would be fucking excellent.
That's great.
Oh shit. Look, Kenny Omega just need to listen to us. We can fix it for him right there. There's your plausible deniability.
Right.
We ain't got no network. How was I supposed to watch it? Was I supposed to pirate it?
Yep. So
what? I'm an EVP for this company. I gotta pirate my own fucking show.
I couldn't even get a courtesy tape of this footage. How dare I couldn't watch it back. So Renee interviewed the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. 2.0 rolled up to him, said they love the Acclaimed. They have a proposition to him for him. He said that he knows the Acclaimed are sports entertainers at heart. I fucking died laughing. And they had a nice laugh about it. They told 2.0 to leave them alone because they get on TV more than them.
Yes. They laugh him off as the biggest geeks ever. And I thought it was great.
2.0 was not happy about that shit. So we'll see how that goes. After that,
they're going to get pinned. That's how it's going to go.
We got Wardlow and Hobbs for the TNT Championship, and this match started in the back.
Yep.
The majority of this match I thought was actually pretty good. It was a walk and brawl for a lot of it, and then they ended up doing some wild shit at the end, including Wardlow doing a swanton dive outside the ring through a table on Hobbs. I was actually in the group chat when I was watching this match talking about how awesome it was, and then the ending happened. I was like, this match rules, and then I was like, oh.
Spoke too soon.
Shit. And what came next was a classic lesson in we don't really want to beat anybody, and we don't want to actually like we don't want to take nobody lower, and by not taking nobody lower, you don't really take anyone higher, essentially. Right. And I think how it came off was like it was shot poorly. Wardlow fell on like some like damn like styrofoam type shit. It turned to a last man standing match out of nowhere. I thought it was a falls count anywhere match, but it
was a falls count. It was falls count anywhere, but they did mention on commentary before the match that like there was a standing. There was a 10 count.
Okay.
As well.
But they did a lot of wild stuff around the building. I don't want to sell them short, but then they got to the end, and I saw the TNT belt over there, and I was like, oh, okay, that must be like their alternate belt or something. And then
that's where that shit finna end, and that's where it's one of them to grab that belt after throwing the other one off the ramp or off the top of the stage.
QT Marshall comes out. He's been working this gimmick online that has looked like he's about to debut, and then it's going to be next week the debut of QTV. It's going to be a news organization. It's basically like a play on like we report all the facts, like the dirt sheets do not or whatever. So awesome about that. But he does have heat. I'll say that. QC's never had a problem getting booed. They're putting with Hobbs. Hobbs, I believe, ended this night doing a promo after the show where he told people, "Kiss my black ass," which I think that should be his dismount from now on while he's the TNT champion. I don't think Hobbs. I don't know how he's going to carry the matches as the TNT champion going forward. They gave him QT to kind of help him. I don't know. I feel like Wardlow, he is, he just got that win over Samoa Joe and was kind of flat. Still, he came in, wasn't really, this is Hobbs' area. But he, I don't know what Wardlow does now. Maybe it's a case of just, we're just plucking you from this division because you have a win over MJF that we can go back to at any time, and we can build you up there. And, we can decide if you get hot again to pull the trigger or not. But that's kind of what I've seen this as. This is like one of those classic, you lose the belt, but you might be going somewhere else.
He's definitely going to see MJF again. Right now, he should not, unless they do something masterful to get him back over again the way he was before, he has no business winning it. But yeah, they're definitely going to have him get back to MJF before MJF's reign's over. Like I can see them like going to Wardlow, MJF beating Wardlow, and then they get to Paige, and then Paige takes it off MJF. I can see that.
And there's like some chatter like based on Rampage. I didn't end up seeing all of Rampage. I only saw the end, but Sammy Guevara's been getting wins recently. Jungle Boy's been getting a lot of wins. Darby cut a promo, and then MJF. Like there's talk around the Four Pillars 4-way for the AEW title might be coming up soon.
That's on TV, right? There's no way that's main eventing a pay-per-view.
I don't know. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so what is this? I feel like I saw something about not actually that this actually is true, but Alvarez and Meltzer talking about Darby Allin potentially retiring, and like I just figured that like they misconstrued that as like him going down like the last few matches that Sting has left to, and them then pulling that out to mean that like Darby Allin too is retiring, and I'm like, I don't think Darby Allin's retiring.
Nah, like I think it was something like Darby said, like, you know, before I'm gone or some shit like that. Like, you know, Darby Allin's career could end at any time the way he wrestles. Right. So maybe that's like what he was alluding to.
Right, but I'm getting like his retirement isn't going to happen based off his decision in a retirement tour. It's going to end up he breaks his fucking neck doing some outrageous, and like we have to, be sad that he's hurt himself, or not hurt himself, but got hurt. Yeah. Like I mean, I don't know what he feels like when he gets out of bed, but I don't think it's at that point where it's like, Shawn of 97.
What do you make of Hobbs with his TNT belt going forward? Hey, the agenda.
Fine with it.
Look, the agenda.
Fine with it. Thought the match, the stuff they did was fun. Don't like the ending with QT because it cheapens, whatever. And also, like, it's a last man standing match. You can catch somebody with banana peel, beat him with a big move at the end. The still one, like that's the John Cena special.
You can win one of these while wearing handcuffs.
Right. But I thought that, like
you can fuck up the handcuffs and not unlock yourself and have the referee completely expose the business.
So yeah, I thought like it was okay. I would have liked it if Hobbs had somehow smarted Wardlow or got the last blow in like without the help of QT Marshall or whatever. But I know that him and QT were around each other at the time when like there was almost like the factory had like a hit on Ricky Starks and like it was never paid off or whatever else. But that was like over a year ago.
That was like last August. Now, I remembered that when they mentioned like, oh, he said he had the favor. I knew exactly what they were talking about.
I knew exactly what he meant too.
Look, I can't assume that, like, I hate to do this. I can't assume that your normal person knew that because it was like, there was no kind of like.
We're people with great memories.
Like, I think for this to be more effective, they would have had to be like, laid a breadcrumb for this, like the end of like January or something. Just all it takes is 30 seconds of TV time. Like have Powerhouse Hobbs walk in the hallway, run to QT, like, hey, like you still owe me one or some shit like that. And QT's like, I got you. And then and that was only like a month ago. I think you could get away with doing it like that.
Yeah, I think that I don't even necessarily think they even needed that. I think they needed to pull the trigger and not ever done the Joe thing, the Joe turn, and then take the title off Joe. Or take the title off Wardlow. They should have just went to the Hobbs thing when it was, then. Like, the problem isn't necessarily that the story wasn't told to a satisfactory level. It was that so much time had passed that, like, it
made it less effective at the end.
It felt like it was something that was dropped as opposed to something that was ready, something that was going to be brought back to the forefront ever again. Like how I mentioned, is kind of the reason why I asked you earlier about the Young Bucks Page Omega thing, because like so much time has passed. Is it worth it to actually go back to this or not? Obviously, there's ways around it to get to it if you want to go back to it, but a lot of time is passing. You'd be like, bro, you bringing up some real old shit now. And one of the issues with AEW is like sometimes they will wait too long on a story to let it finish. Like, it's like, bro, when was Final Battle?
Last
December
year?
14th, some shit like that.
Yeah.
We still haven't gotten the Keith Lee Swerve match.
Right.
Right. He's like, there is like telling the story of who's off TV. Keith Lee was off TV and reinvented himself and all that stuff. Is also like, bruh, it's been 4 fucking months. Can we get the match already?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But that was Dynamite this week. I don't know. Like, I think I might like the show a little bit more as we were reviewing it. But when I was watching it, I was just like, I don't know. I thought they should have came out firing a little harder out of the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. But, you know.
I think they set the table with all the heat they got. I'm not saying necessarily the heat was unnecessary. I think that they set the table for the babyfaces to, move forward, like Starks with a brand new opponent, with like Hobbs and QT Marshall, and particularly the Factory. What is that going to be? MJF gloating that he beat, the best wrestler in the world in an hour plus time match, and now he's going to show up next week. Like, they're setting the table for stuff to look forward to, right? But I didn't think there was any match that like I thought was, stood out above the rest. It was some great match on the show, like compared to a normal Dynamite, and then like it was just a lot of setting up heat and getting heat, and like is a lot. I felt like a little bit too much. I felt like it was like 3 episodes or 3 weeks worth of normal AEW heat put into one show, and I thought it was a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't think I had anything. Oh, one more thing. Keiji Muto, the Great Muta, is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. This fucker has done it again, James.
Mm-hmm.
We realized what happened here to get Nakamura over. The deal, you put me in the Hall of Fame as well.
Yep.
I just find this hilarious. Keiji Muto ensures that he will get another run at Finesser of the Year this year.
Rich, when they announced the Nakamura thing, we talked about it on the show. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this was a quid pro quo and exactly this, wasn't it? Didn't I mention this?
I think you might have brought that up, yeah.
Right, it's like, yeah, like think about what Keiji, what the Great Muta means to like their library. Because the reason for people to go on the network and go through all those tabs to go find some of this shit in WCW and NWA. Like, yeah. And then sure enough, it happened.
He's going to miss somebody at WrestleMania, right?
Who do you want it to be?
Austin Theory, right?
Oh, God.
Actually, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe he's too old for this now, but like a decade ago. Like a decade ago, they definitely would have missed a Cole. They definitely missed a Cole. He'd have been emceeing the whole fucking thing, and he all of a sudden got missed and embarrassed as the guy. And Vince would have belly laughed in the back like an asshole.
The Miz. Sam brings it up. Miz is hosting.
I got one.
Hey, shout out to Triple H.
Miz
taking bad wrestlers out the ring.
Miz and Maurice both missed it.
Yeah, there you go. Takes the mist from the Great Muta, because the Great Muta was, I believe, was what it was, not Keiji Muto. So I don't know. Like, does he like what does the Great Muto wear?
Do they know that the Great Muta is a homophobe? Were they aware of what happened at the end of that match with Nakamura?
No.
They might want to pull up a link.
This man has done it again. Just unbelievable. Jeff Jarrett will be proud. We can wrap it up, man.
Yeah. That's in the show. Thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you use and listen to this with. If you are watching from the stream, you see the PayPal, you see the Cash App, you can donate there. If you're listening to the podcast, you go to the show notes, show descriptions for the podcast, and go to the link for our in our red circle and go donate there and listen to other shows on the network. Besides Winning Radio, you have Keeping It Strong Style, the Ricky and Clyde Wrestling Show, Grown Men Watch This Shit, the Grave Consequences Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, All Things Elite, Great Match Generator, Get in the Ring, and Meet the Press Slam. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.